Odyssey app.
ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. Britain will soon have a new prime minister, the country's 7th in 10 years, as Keir Starmer says he's stepping down and will remain in office until a successor is chosen. Andy Burnham, the former mayor of Manchester, seen as a likely successor, says he will run for the position. Despite threats from President Trump, there are signs of progress in talks between the U.S. and Iran, says ABC's Allison Cossack.
Despite all the uncertainty surrounding the talks, gas prices here at home are dropping, down nearly 14 cents per gallon in the last week. And diesel prices have now fallen below $5 for the first time since March. Analysts predict that downward trend will continue.
Extreme heat and conditions fueled several wildfires in the west, including the Iron Fire southwest of Salt Lake City. It forced the evacuation of a small town. Severe weather blamed for 3 deaths across Illinois and Kansas. This is ABC News. The Utah judge overseeing the murder case of last year's killing of activist Charlie Kirk says he'll rule today over whether prosecutors could be sanctioned for their comments to the media about a bullet fragment recovered from his body. Defense lawyers said the comments could sway potential jurors. Bitter battle between a Wisconsin medical research and breeding operation and animal rights activists is coming to an end as the facility gets set to close, says ABC's Sophie Flay.
Hundreds of beagles heading to forever homes this week.
No more testing, no more breeding, no more selling.
As a controversial breeding and research facility in Wisconsin prepares to shut down.
This was a real win for everybody, for the dogs.
Now, the final 475 dogs are leaving too. About 325 are on the road this week, and roughly 150 more will follow in August, when Wrigley closes its doors for good.
Wyndham Clark won golf's U.S. Open for the second time in 4 years. I'm Brian Clark, ABC News.
It is 6:02. We have cloudy skies, 62 degrees downtown. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. We'll get you that forecast. It's a pretty good one in just a moment. St. Louis County voters are looking at not 1, but 2 tax questions this year.
A use tax on online purchases is on the August ballot. Now, the county council is moving to add a senior services property tax in November, 5 cents per $100 of value to pay for programs for older residents. At least one resident, Tom Sullivan, says the county is asking for too much.
The senior services tax would be the second tax increase you want to put on county taxpayers, with a possible third coming down the line.
The senior tax would raise an estimated $15 million for residents 60 and older, distributed by an independent board. If voters approve it in November, the money would start reaching senior programs in 2028. The council still has to take a final vote. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Missouri's Attorney General isn't giving up after a court found several restrictions on abortion violated a 2024 constitutional amendment.
The ruling marks a legal victory for abortion rights advocates like leaders at Planned Parenthood. In most cases, Judge Zhang ruled in favor of abortion rights groups and against the state government's arguments that the law should be enforced. The court also pulled a requirement that anyone getting an abortion see a doctor in person twice and at least 72 hours apart. Another requirement that the first dose of an abortion pill be taken in front of the prescribing doctor was also pulled. Other rules, like a requirement that patients see a doctor in person to confirm things like gestational age and rule out an ectopic pregnancy, remain in effect. Attorney General Catherine Hanaway says she will appeal Thursday's ruling, calling it a Pandora's box that will make women in Missouri, quote, pay the price. Ivy Lyons, KMOX News.
Voters will be asked to approve a measure undoing the 2024 amendment this fall. The 2026 tornado count is already breaking records in Illinois. Here's Haley Hansen.
A week after a tornado outbreak moved through the state, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration data shows Illinois is, once again, leading the nation for its twister count. So far this year, the state's recorded more than 160 tornadoes. Mississippi has the second highest count, with just half of Illinois' total. The NOAA numbers also mean Illinois already beat its previous record of 142 tornadoes set 2 years ago.
At least 2 tornadoes ripped through Dixon, Illinois last night. According to the Jefferson County Sheriff, 2 people are dead. 5 more were transported to the hospital following the storms.
The St. Louis Health Department says their statistics show dog attacks in the city have been flat in recent years. But is there an issue with reporting?
St. Louis City Animal Regulation Supervisor Kristen Zellen tells KMOX a large portion of their reports come from urgent cares, not victims or witnesses, which would only include attacks on humans. This also skews their numbers, showing where the dog bites were reported.
Ward 5, which is our highest reported ward, also has a lot more urgent cares, and we get most of those reports from the urgent cares.
Zellen says humans can sometimes be hesitant to report out of fear of retaliation, but says their reporting is anonymous. She adds they find very few dog attacks come from strays. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The St. Louis nonprofit ecosystem maintaining sustainability. That is a new report from the Community Value Alliance. Board President Jim Mosquera says our region has more than 23,000 nonprofits, many facing a funding winter.
Because we have so many nonprofits and because we've experienced the deteriorating funding environment and because many of the nonprofits have a business capability gap, they're being squeezed further and now they're chasing the same dollars. And of course, that leads to donor fatigue and so forth.
Mosquera says for years, government funding, a steady donor base, and low barriers to entry produced a nonprofit ecosystem optimized for growth, but now that is under profound stress. He says the nonprofit sector is at a pivotal juncture. Hear more at 8:41.
For John Parker Jr., selling O'Connell's Pub is about as personal as it gets. He announced the sale on the 6th anniversary of the day his father Jack died. O'Connell's got its start in Gaslight Square in 1962. Jack Parker bought it a few years later, moved it to Shaw Avenue near the Botanical Garden, and has run it most of his life.
When Jack died in 2020, his son, a salesman by trade, took it over, and Parker doesn't pretend it was the obvious move.
I was not a great fit as far as being a person to run any restaurant, to run this restaurant. The only reason I did this was because it's O'Connell's, and I sort of had to. I grew up here. I knew I was the only person in the world that could really do this right.
Parker steered the pub through a rough stretch after the pandemic, at one point going on Facebook to ask regulars to come in and spend. They did, beyond what he had hoped. He managed and will manage O'Connell's until the new owners take over next year.
Kokomo Joe's Family Fun Center in St. Peters is expanding, building a first-of-its-kind in the region multi-level indoor go-kart track. No cost for the project has been released, but it should open this year. Kokomo Joe's currently has bowling, laser tag, escape rooms, and more than 100 arcade games, among other things. It first opened in 2013. According to the Business Journal, the trampoline park has been closed to create room for the 20,000-square-foot track.
Wow. I'll have to see that to believe that. Wow.
Multi-level.
My goodness. 6:08. Traffic and weather next.
If you are looking for a place for independent living for older adults, the place is Fairwinds River's Edge in St. Charles. It was voted U.S. News and World Report's best independent living for 5 consecutive years. They have social events for the residents there, wellness programs. Just go to fairwindsriversedge.com. Schedule a tour and hear about all of the great new updated spaces, all the dining, the social events, the best. fairwindsriversedge.com.
A divorce is more than just legal paperwork. It's a life change. The stress, the uncertainty, the tough conversations. Cordell & Cordell understands what it's really like to face the unknown. The law firm of Cordell & Cordell has been representing clients during these transitions for over 35 years, helping you focus on what matters most. If you or someone you know is facing a divorce or family law matter, visit CordellCordell.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis. Joseph Cordell, Principal Partner.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to Supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At Supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to Supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's Supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before. We now have more offices, more staff, and more lawyers than any other injury firm in the world, protecting America, fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Roger Brand, what's the latest? Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, right now things are okay out there, Tom, for the most part, in the work zones and otherwise. Just not a lot of volume out there so far on a Monday morning. So we look good, but of course downtown, hopefully everybody's heard that unfortunately there's going to be another week of closure of 44 between the Poplar and Musial Veterans Bridges due to those multiple water main breaks that occurred in the city underneath Interstate 44 right near the dome there downtown. So that means the express lanes of eastbound 70 remain closed. And if you're on eastbound 44, your last chance to get off into downtown is at Park Avenue. But like I said, right now, everything approaching downtown, even including the Illinois side, is on the go for you so far. We do have some new roadwork scheduled to start this hour on the Illinois side. It'll be about a week long, 8 days, I think, actually. It's scheduled to wrap up on the 30th. But they're going to have their two right lanes closed, northbound and southbound, 255 at Horseshoe Lake Road. And in addition to that, the northbound exit ramp is going to be closed, and the southbound on-ramp from Horseshoe Lake to 255 is going to be closed during that time. So let's keep that in mind. Again, that's scheduled to start this hour. And they're on the scene with a crash reported. They sent EMS to Lafayette and 14th Street if you're coming in on 55 or 44 and getting off at that Lafayette exit. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
A mix of clouds and sunshine today, high 75. Nothing more than a stray evening shower, otherwise mostly cloudy tonight, low 63. Partly sunny and nice tomorrow, high 84. And clouds and sunshine Wednesday with an afternoon thunderstorm, high 80. From the Seliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Carl Erickson on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Right now in downtown St. Louis, it's breezy and cloudy, 62 degrees.
It's 6:12. Average gas prices in the St. Louis region are 16.5 cents cheaper today than they were last week. Today's average price per gallon sits at $3.81, according to Gas Buddy. That's almost 57 cents cheaper than a month ago, but 83 cents higher than a year ago. Missouri's overall average price per gallon sits at $3.62, while Illinois comes in at $4.13.
Illinois is the number one producer of soybeans in the United States, but the state only keeps about 40% of what it grows. Where does the other 60% go?
Illinois grows more soybeans than any other state, harvesting more than 639 million bushels last year. However, most of Illinois' soybeans are exported, mainly to China. Capital News Illinois reporter Naomi Taxi says there's a new push to keep the beans in the state due to rising global tensions.
Farmers and soybean producers in the state are looking to make a more stable market because the trade wars over the past couple of years have just made it increasingly difficult to depend on China.
2 months ago, Illinois began offering tax exemptions to fuel retailers who sell a 20% biodiesel blend, often referred to as B20. Taxi says lawmakers think the incentive will increase the state's demand for the bean by around 50%. Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
A new tax aimed at large online sports gaming operations could affect how people in Illinois take part in fantasy sports leagues. Jeff Buckholtz with a closer look.
It's just another way to nickel and dime Illinoisans.
That's how Bryce Hill from the Conservative Illinois Policy Institute describes this new tax, which collects 15% of the gross receipts that sites such as FanDuel and DraftKings collect on fantasy sports bets. Here's what's not affected by the tax.
Your everyday fantasy sports leagues that you and your buddies might have, or your NCAA brackets that you might do at work.
Although remember, you do have to pay income tax on your fantasy winnings. Hill says the state will collect the tax and licensing fees from the sites and not individual players, but he expects those higher costs will trickle down.
Entry fees are going to be higher, payouts are going to be lower.
The state says it expects to generate $5 million from the tax starting next month. Jeff Buckles, News Radio 105.9, WBBM.
Mourning the death of Gene Bess in Poplar Bluff and in basketball coaching circles around the nation.
The Naismith Hall of Famer died Friday at home in southeast Missouri at age 91. Bess led his Three Rivers Junior College team to a record 1,300 victories over 50 years at the helm. Here's part of his Hall of Fame message.
Thank you to every assistant coach I've had.
especially my son Brian, who coached with me for 27 years. Thank you to every single player I've ever coached. I want you to know that I love each and every one of you.
Brad Choate, KMOX News.
The Cardinals in Kansas City taking on the Royals. They got thumped in Game 1. They lost a narrow one in Game 2. And in Game 3, they came out swinging. It was J.J. Weatherholt to get things started. This guy is on his way to a Rookie of the Year moment, without a doubt. You got to think that at this point, Weatherholt has to be one of the favorites, right? Look at the numbers, look at the play in the field, look at this.
There's a swing and a high fly ball. That's hit to deep center field. It might go. That's a gunner. A gunner leading off the game for J.J. Weatherholt.
And after Mason Wynn hit a 3-run homer to make it 5-0 in the first inning, Nootbaar with an RBI, Wynn with 3. The Royals scored 2 in the bottom of the first. It was a 5-2 game. It's back to Weatherholt, top of the second.
There's a swing and a high fly ball hit to deep left. This has a chance at the wall. It's a gunner. Weatherholt with an opposite field home run. Isaac Collins got to the wall, and the ball sailed into the bullpen. The 2 runs the Royals scored in the bottom of the first, Weatherholt gets them back with a 2-run shot in the second.
And that made it 7-2. Burleson with an RBI triple, it's 8-2. An RBI single by Wynn, it's 9-2. But the pitching let the Cardinals down for a while here. We're still in the second.
The 2-1 pitch. There's a high fly ball. That is blistered to left field and long gone. A home run for Lofton, his second of the year. And the Royals have answered with a 2-run second inning.
Then a runner on for Jack Caglione.
On the stretch. A long pause. May with the pitch. A swing, and there's a long one to right center field, and that one leaves the yard. That's up in the water spectacular.
Uh-oh, a 2-run shot for Caglione. It's 9-6. What the heck's going on here? Well, Dustin May gives up 6 runs. That's what. He only lasted 2 innings after his spectacular one-hitter the start before. But the Cardinals had more in the tank. And this tank, Ivan Herrera, 5th inning.
Here's a long drive. Deep left center field. That might go, and it's a gunner. Herrera hits a 3-run homer. The Cardinals have a 12-7 lead in the 5th inning.
This game was nuts. Cardinals won at 12-10. They scored all their runs in the first 5 innings. Manager Ollie Marmol after the game.
Cardinals win a crazy one. How did you feel about the offense's approach against Stephen Kolek?
I felt good about our offense. Guys did a really nice job, came out, and after an off day and really put it on them, took some solid at-bats, threw up the 5 spot and then another 4, and just relentless 1 through 9. I love what we were able to do there. A lot of hard contact, did damage in the zone, so perfect by the offense today.
Stephen Carey with the Cardinals manager. Cardinals back at it today. We'll have it for you at 6:45 with a pregame at 5:50 on KMOX. To golf.
On the opening day of the U.S. Open Championship, Wyndham Clark had 5 birdies and an eagle for a 6-under 64. From that point forward, the 2023 U.S. Open champion traveled a magical mystery tour for the win. For the final 3 rounds, the number of bogeys topped the number of birdies, and the pars, they were spun with sleight of hand, with his magic wand being his putter. He missed 34 greens for the week, but his par putt on 18 on Sunday preserved a 1-shot victory at 4 under par with a closing 73. Sam Burns finished solo second, missing a tying birdie putt on 18. Exactly 1 year ago, Clark missed the open cut at Oakmont and vandalized the locker room on his way out the door. They constructed a temporary locker room for the players this week at Shinnecock. Today, they'll start tearing it down. Seems kind of appropriate. Reporting on the U.S. Open, Dan Reardon for KMOX Radio Sports.
Amendment 4 on the August ballot hides some ugly facts. It would create a new minority veto power, but only for ballot issues that are citizen-led.
I just say no to that.
Amendment 4 permanently ends majority rule for citizen-led ballot issues.
I'm a no on 4.
Politicians put Amendment 4 on the ballot to severely limit citizens' constitutional power.
I say no on 4.
4 is a power grab by politicians. It lets one congressional district veto reforms backed by the majority of voters statewide, giving as few as 5% of voters control over the rest of us.
That's why I say no to 4.
4 would make it nearly impossible to rein in out-of-control politicians.
I say heck no.
4 takes away our constitutional power we've used for over 100 years to pass reforms that politicians wouldn't. Keep majority rule and your power. Just say no to Amendment 4. It's an ugly politician power grab. Paid for by Missourians for Fair Governance.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. We all procrastinate. We put things off, confident we'll have time later. Well, one who procrastinates in choosing will inevitably have their choices made for them by circumstance. Could be an illness or even a death. And it happened to me. I was widowed at 41. It could happen to you. If you procrastinate and fail to plan for your future, for your children, circumstances and the courts will make your plans for you without your input. Eamon Gantner and Capriano help thousands of families plan for their future now. We can be your personal attorney too, guiding you with a will, trust, powers of attorney, Medicaid, and VA. You may delay, but time does not. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, yourestateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
Debbie Monterey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
621, you're listening to Total Information AM, where we check the roadways and the weather every 10 minutes for you. Let's start with Roger Brand, who's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, things don't look bad out there right now, Debbie. This traffic report service of Scott Credit Union. I do see just a touch of a slowdown, just a little bit, not bad. Northbound 255 at Horseshoe Lake Road. Again, this hour is when they're scheduled to start in about an 8-day project. It's scheduled to wrap up on the 30th, I believe. 255 at Horseshoe Lake Road. They're scheduled to have the 2 right lanes closed each direction there, and the northbound exit ramp to Horseshoe Lake closed, and the southbound on-ramp from Horseshoe Lake closed for this week-long project. But right now, again, just a little slowdown northbound. They're probably getting some equipment and barriers set up in that area. Still looking at downtown, of course, 44, still closed between the Poplar and Musial Veterans Bridges, but eastbound 70 is still cruising in. Express lanes closed, obviously, but eastbound 70, no delays all the way into Tucker so far for you. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Teachers, healthcare workers, first responders, and military, this one's for you. Scott Credit Union's Community Heroes program offers special financing on homes, autos, and more. It's our way of saying thanks. Visit scu.org today. Equal housing lender, NMLS number 415767. Terms and conditions apply.
You might be surprised how cool it feels out there, 62, but it feels like 58 because we have a wind out of the north at 9 miles per hour. Today, partly sunny, high just 75, mostly cloudy tonight, low 63. Tomorrow, pleasant with clouds and sunshine, high 84. 62 right now.
You may have noticed that 3 years ago, purple recycling bins began popping up around St. Louis. What you may not have known is those bins collect recycled glass, including glass bottles and candle jars.
Franklin Rosario is the regional manager of Ripple Glass, the company who collects and processes the glass right here in the city. He gives KMOX's Jade Aubrey more about where the glass goes after residents recycle it.
So how many purple bins are in the St. Louis area?
We have 14 drop-off locations currently. That covers St. Louis City, St. Louis County, Jefferson County, and St. Charles County.
That was going to be my next question. I'm also personally curious, why are the bins purple?
So the bins are purple because that goes back to kind of the founding of Ripple back in 2009 in Kansas City. Traditionally recycling trash, it's green and blue, right? Those are the 2 main colors. And we wanted to set ourselves apart. Our bins, as you've probably seen, are quite visible to the public. And part of the appeal is that they don't just look like an old dumpster, right? They're bright, they're pretty, and they're meant to more draw eyes to them rather than to be an eyesore. So we picked purple because it's vibrant, it looks good, and we've really kind of made purple the color of glass over the last 16 years.
Yeah, I heard you say it started in Kansas City, and then 16 years. Is that when the purple bins came to St. Louis?
Yeah, so the purple bin started in St. Louis in 2023, I believe, right at the end of 2023. So this is kind of really our second full year in operation here.
Gotcha. Do you plan on having more than the 14 bins? Is this something that's planning to expand?
Absolutely, yep. I run the program here, and we're always kind of looking for new locations. We're in active discussions right now with several different spots. Basically, once we call them bin hosts, to agree to host a bin on their site, wherever that may be, we bring one in and put it down.
Gotcha. And do you have a partnership with the city or the recycling company?
We do not currently. So we have 2 bins in the city, one at IKEA and one at Rooster in South Grand. Those are both private partnerships, but obviously available for use to all of the city residents.
And then can you go over what can and can't be recycled in the purple bins?
Sure. So any kind of food and beverage container, well, I always tell people anything you can find in a grocery store that's packaged in glass can go into our bins. We can take plate glass, so like the frames of a picture frame, something like that. We can take kitchenware, so pint glasses, wine glasses. There are certain things that we can't. So we can't take mirrors. We can't take ceramics. A lot of people, think that, a ceramic mug is glass because it kind of breaks the same way, but it is assuredly not. And we can't take Pyrex glass. So like something you would put in your oven, Corningware, we can't take that. But basically any other type of glass can go into our bins.
Yeah, and I heard of this through the St. Louis Recycling Facebook post that candle jars can be recycled. Do those need to be cleaned out? Can you just toss a candle jar in there?
Yes, absolutely. So we can take candle jars. If there's a little bit leftover wax, that's just fine. You can leave, you don't have to clean it out at all. Same goes for, if you have a jar of pasta sauce or jelly or pickles, something like that. You don't have to clean those out. It might smell a little bit better when you're waiting to bring your glass to the bin, but it certainly is not necessary.
Yeah, and do you guys process the glass yourself?
Yes, we do. So essentially what we are doing is processing the glass to a point where it's ready to be remanufactured into something else. So we have a location in downtown St. Louis, right on the North Riverfront, where we, in the simplest of terms, we break it all up, we crush it down really small, and then we sort it by color so that it can find its next end market, whether that be new bottles or fiberglass. Those are really the 2 main ones.
I saw on your website that had a quote on there that says our processing plant and partner companies keep it local. Is that glass usually redistributed in the city?
Yeah, so our end product is called cullet, right? So bottle cullet and fiberglass cullet. The bottle cullet will go to a bottle manufacturing plant here in Missouri, and then the fiberglass cullet will go to one just across the border in Kansas, near Kansas City.
That is Franklin Rosario, the regional manager of Ripple Glass, talking with KMOX's Jade Aubrey.
By the way, if you're looking for something to do this afternoon, a Granite City Public Works Department employee is going to attempt to eat a 4.5-pound steak plus a baked potato, 3 shrimp, a side salad, a roll in under 1 hour. It's part of the Route 66 caravan joining forces with the Big Texan Steak Ranch of Amarillo, Texas, which has been a Route 66 destination since 1960. Rodney Cox will begin his face-stuffing challenge at 4 at Electric Neon Sign Park. The owner of Big Texan Steak Ranch says it's more than a food challenge, Tom. He says it's a celebration of Americana and the spirit of Route 66, and spectators are encouraged to bring their classic and vintage cars and join in on the fun.
Rodney, don't listen to anyone that tells you can't do that. 72-ounce steak. That's all it is, man.
You
72-ounce
dream, buddy.
steak. You're
you
good.
Set your goals. You can do it.
4.5 pounds sounds worse than it is. 72-ounce steak, baked potato, 3 shrimp, side salad, and a roll. You got this.
I don't necessarily want to watch it.
6:28. Time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, Skin Cancer Awareness this summertime, and we're joined by Dr. Aubriana McAvoy, a WashU medicine surgeon at Siteman Cancer Center.
So one of the biggest warning signs is a spot that's changing. So that could be changing in size, shape, color, or certainly if something has symptoms like itching or bleeding. We call it the ugly duckling sign, which is a mole that looks different from all the other ones on your body. I let patients know they should pay attention to sores that don't heal, scaly spots, or growths that bleed easily. If something is new or changing or just doesn't seem right, it's worth getting checked out. A lot of spots turn out to be benign when you're at the dermatologist, but skin cancer is much easier to treat when it's caught early.
For more information, visit siteman.washu.edu.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Retirement. Exciting in one way, scary in others. How do you find the financial advisor that covers all the bases? Join Greg Ayler, Saturdays at 1 on Fire Your Financial Advisor.
Right now we have cloudy skies and 62 degrees in downtown St. Louis at 6:30. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Let's see how the roads look. Roger Brand, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're doing okay so far, Tom. I mean, it's getting a little bit busier out there, but not much to be concerned about. Just the most recent thing was a stall northbound 55 at Z. It's on the shoulder. Traffic looks great coming up from Festus all the way up through Butler Hill and 270. North 270 from 55, still getting along fine. There's a little slowdown southbound 270 at Ladue. Eastbound 30, Mauer to 270. Starting to see a little traffic there. Out west, we look okay. Southbound 61 on to eastbound 64 and 70. Everything's good to go there. Downtown, we're still all right. 70 getting into Tucker still doesn't look all that bad. And 255, they're scheduled to be doing road work or starting this hour at Horseshoe Lake Road. A couple lanes closed each direction. The right lane's through there. But again, not enough traffic to see any delays at that point so far either. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today should be partly sunny with a high of 75. Tomorrow, clouds and sunshine 84. And then Wednesday, the chance of thunderstorms return, but mostly just clouds and sun with a high of 80. It is 62 and cloudy in downtown St. Louis.
Gravois Avenue was the most dangerous road in St. Louis City last year. That's according to TrailNet's State of Our Streets reports, which was released today. The report shows 23 motor vehicle crashes occurred on Gravois last year, resulting in 19 injuries and 4 deaths. And arterial roads remain dangerous for pedestrians, with nearly 85% of pedestrian and 66% of cyclist fatalities occurring on arterial roads.
A truck plowed into an Arnold clinic and school for children with disabilities. It was about 2 a.m. Saturday morning at the Opportunities Without Limits. Arnold Police Department says the driver apparently fell asleep on 55, and the truck went off the highway and smashed into the facility, which sustained extensive damage. No one was inside at the time, and only the driver suffered minor injuries.
St. Louis County voters could get another crack at a tax they already turned down.
And it's not the online sales tax. The county council is moving to put a senior services property tax on the November ballot, 5 cents per $100 of assessed valuation to pay for programs serving residents 60 and older. Voters narrowly rejected the same idea a decade ago. At their latest meeting, watchdog Tom Sullivan told council members not to bother asking.
A council press release in March said this: voters are unlikely to support new taxes until the county demonstrates tangible administrative improvement and fiscal discipline. Not only are they unlikely to support new taxes, they shouldn't. Not when dysfunctional is a word most often used to describe county government.
Backers see it differently. Seniors Count estimates the tax would raise about $15 million a year, handed out as grants by an independent board. The council still needs to give the measure final approval before it can go to the ballot. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It is 6:34.
Grammy award-winning quintet Punch Brothers returns to Powell Hall for a special evening of genre-defying contemporary bluegrass music, featuring the virtuosic talents of mandolinist Chris Thiele, guitarist Chris Eldridge, bassist Paul Cowart, banjoist Noam Pikielny, and violinist Brittany Haas. Punch Brothers creates music and lyrics that are both intellectually daring and emotionally resonant. This is modern string music at its most thrilling, bold, brilliant, and unforgettable. Wednesday, June 24th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
If you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
It is 6:35, and in just 5 minutes, we'll be checking the roadways and the weather for you as we start a brand new week. Should be a pretty nice one. Stick around for that. It's time for your Money Report, sponsored by Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. The price at the pump continues to swing lower. According to AAA, the average price for unleaded gasoline has dropped to $3.93 a gallon nationally. It's fallen close to 14% over the last month. Pump prices have retreated from their May peak above $4.50 a gallon, helped by the decline in crude prices. Turning to trading, Wall Street is back after Friday's day off. Iran says there has been major progress in discussions with the U.S. as the two sides try to reach a peace deal. S&P futures are down 9 points. Dow futures are little changed. And Coca-Cola and the IRS will square off in court this week in a case that could cost the beverage giant as much as $20 billion. The dispute centers on how much Coca-Cola's foreign affiliates pay the company for the right to use its trademarks, brand names, and secret formulas. The IRS says the affiliates didn't pay enough, and Coca-Cola's U.S. income and taxes should have been higher. No comment from Coca-Cola or the IRS. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
It's Tom Ackerman. When it comes to your garage door, there's only one choice, and that is Overhead Door Company of St. Louis to tune it up. You don't even have to have purchased a garage door from them. You might not even know where your garage door came from. Maybe it's in the home that you already bought. Well, they can tune it up for you, and you should. With the weather changes that we have around here, you absolutely need it. Repair, replacement, or installation. The focus at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is to provide your home with top quality. And homeowners have turned to Overhead Door Company of St. Louis for that for a century. They started in 1926. They are well known for garage doors and garage door service. And they know that a business is nothing without integrity. They will never pressure you into buying something that isn't necessary. They're Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the ones with the red ribbon, the genuine the original.
Hey guys, summer is right around the corner, and right now Universal Windows Direct is making it easier than ever to get the job done. When you buy 4 windows, you get 4 for free. That's one of their biggest offers of the year. The more windows you replace, the more you save. Plus, you'll get 48 months of 0% interest financing, same as cash. 314-334-2522 or visit universalwindowsdirect.com to schedule your free estimate today. That's universalwindowsdirect.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Today, the Cards, the D-backs.
Ameren Total Access 550. First pitch 6:45.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is going on 6:40, and we appreciate you being in the audience this morning as you're heading out the door, possibly. We want to make sure you get there safely and quickly, so Roger Brand is keeping his eye on things. He's in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, so far, so good out there, Debbie. It's getting a little bit busier, but it's still not bad for most folks. As traffic reports a service of financial and tax strategies. If you're on eastbound 70, passing 64, just a little slow out in the Wentzville area, but other than that, it's a good run headed for the Blanchette Bridge. Eastbound 64 and southbound 61 both look great coming in across the Boone Bridge. Starting to see some slow traffic. In fact, the right lane's backing up. Southbound 270, south of Olive as you make your way through Ladue down towards 64. Northbound 270, Doherty Ferry to Manchester, slow as you head up that hill. Eastbound 30, a little busy into Gravois Bluffs, and it's slow from about Mauer up the hill to 270. A little bit of a backup on Tesson Ferry, midway up from Butler Hill to Kennerly. It's bumper to bumper through there. 55 looks great from Festus all the way into downtown. Downtown, we're still okay. Eastbound 70 coming into Tucker, still not seeing any backups yet, and that's the first place we have been seeing them. The south side doesn't seem to get as bad, and there are slow stretches, or a slow stretch right now. Northbound 255 from 5570 up to Horseshoe Lake Road again. A project began this hour. They have the right lanes closed, both directions, 255 at Horseshoe Lake, and the northbound exit ramp there is also closed. On the southbound side, it's the on-ramp that shut down. It's about an 8-day project they're getting underway right now. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
If your retirement plan is mostly what if and a little fingers crossed, you deserve better answers than that. Check out Wealth and Wisdom Saturdays at 7 a.m. here on KMOX. I'm Gary Goldberg. Call 800-966-1690.
AccuWeather meteorologist Carl Erickson, what are we seeing for today?
Well, a lot of low clouds hanging around through this morning. Kind of a murky start to the day, but with time as we go into the afternoon, the sky will try to brighten up a little bit, a few pockets of sunshine, but with that added cloud cover, that'll keep our temperatures rather cool for late June, up to 75 for a high. Then nothing more than a stray evening shower. I think much of the area stays dry, but the cloud cover remains with a low of 63. It turns out nicer tomorrow, more sunshine, warmer temperatures, high 84, and with the warmth, an increase in the humidity on Wednesday. That can lead to a late day thunderstorm, high near 80. And with that humidity and the cloud cover in place Thursday and Friday, a more active weather as well. Showers and thunderstorms around each day. Highs both Thursday and Friday around 83. Currently at 63 degrees in St. Peters. It's 62 in Florissant, and it's mostly cloudy and 64 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Carl Erickson, 1041 FM KMOX.
All right, thanks, Carl. It's 6:42. Vice President J.D. Vance says progress was made in peace talks with Iran. Tehran's foreign minister made a similar statement overnight. During a news conference today in Lucerne, Switzerland, Vance said technical teams will continue talks on several major issues over the next 60 days.
I think it's important for all of us to appreciate how much was done, but honestly, there is still a lot to do as we continue to make progress on the nuclear talks, on the economic talks, as we continue to demine the straits and ensure that that flow of traffic continues to pick back up.
Alan Greenspan, the longtime chairman of the Federal Reserve, has died. He was 100 years old. His wife, NBC correspondent Andrea Mitchell, confirmed his passing, saying he died from complications of Parkinson's disease. The economist is remembered for leading the American Central Bank amid periods of historic U.S. economic expansion. Critics have also said his policies contributed to and exacerbated the mortgage crisis and financial crash of 2008.
President Trump said Sunday work would begin immediately to repair the peeling lining at the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool. This comes as an administration official confirmed at least 5 people have been arrested on vandalism charges related to the pool. ABC News senior White House correspondent Selena Wang.
This is something that's really been the president's prized project. He has repeatedly talked about how dirty and filthy the reflecting pool has been under previous administrations. He said before that this is something to be proud of. He even said, quote, "It'll last for 50 to 100 years before you have to do anything with a very strong, powerful substance that we use."
There were protests at the World Cup in Inglewood, California. That's where protesters gathered outside the Iran-Belgium match to call out the regime and pressure President Trump to remember his promise to the Iranian people back in March. Sarah Baranas wants FIFA and everyone watching to know this is more than a soccer game.
He said help is on the way, and that cost the lives of 40,000 Iranians. He told them to go onto the streets to protest, and they did exactly that with hope of freedom. And so we need him to stick to that, because if he doesn't, he's no different than any other U.S. president.
In World Cup play yesterday, among the games, Cape Verde. They are just unbelievable. They had a scoreless draw with Spain in their first matchup, and yesterday they did it again. They may well have a story that could continue on here. Cape Verde's magical start might be just getting started. A 2-2 draw with Uruguay. They came from behind for it, scored their first ever goal in World Cup play, and now they're a club with a legitimate chance of getting into the knockout stage. The U.S. is already there. The Americans will play a game on Thursday against Turkey and then see who they play next. As for the U.S. Open, KMOX's Dan Reardon is following Shinnecock Hills.
At 1:30 yesterday afternoon, Wyndham Clark stood on the first tee at Shinnecock with a 6-shot lead and a seemingly direct path to his second U.S. Open win. Exactly 5 hours later, he stood on the 18th tee, needing par to preserve the win. He didn't hit a great drive, thought he mishit his second shot, but used his reliable putter to tap in for the win. His closing 3 over 73 put him at -4 for the week. From the stoppage of play for darkness on Thursday to the tap in on 18 on Sunday, he held the lead alone every step of the way. Sam Burns burned the lip at 18 with his birdie putt to get to 4 under, but could only wait for Clark to falter and have a chance. Over par rounds on Thursday and Sunday denied Scotty Scheffler a completion of the career slam on his birthday. The world number 1 finished even par, tied for 4th. Reporting on the U.S. Open, Dan Reardon for KMOX Radio Sports.
Cardinals open a series tonight at Busch Stadium against the Arizona Diamondbacks after a wild one yesterday, a 12-10 win at Kauffman Stadium against the Royals.
In a game like this, you certainly have a chance to let things slip away. The middle of relief really pitched well. How did you feel about that performance?
Yeah, middle did their jobs, man. Got it to the back end. We were trying to get to the 6th there with being able to unload with Stanek and JoJo and Soriano and then Riley. But that's one of those that can get sideways really quick. Ball's flying all over the place. So I'm glad we came up on top.
Stephen Carey with manager Ollie Marmol. The Cardinals will throw Andre Palante tonight, and he's going to need to go deep after all the bullpen work that Marmol just described. The Cardinals also have an issue with their rotation. Lately, Matthew Liberatore has been hit extremely hard. Here's President of Baseball Operations Chaim Bloom on KMOX.
He's obviously had some good moments and flashed some really good things, but I think he would be the first to tell you, as he has, that this season so far is not going the way that he envisioned. I think, as it relates to Thursday, there were a couple things, some small things coming out of that outing that we picked up on after the fact that I think we should be able to correct and should help going forward. But, bottom line is, obviously, like he said, he's looking to set the tone for that series and didn't do it in the way that he knows he can. I think there's a command and execution thing there. There's obviously some things to look at with respect to why the hitters were so comfortable, but that's obviously not what you want.
Liberatore was the team's opening day starter. He currently has a 3-4 record with a 5.23 ERA. He is scheduled to start Wednesday at Busch Stadium against the Diamondbacks. Who's Hot, Who's Not, sponsored by St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories. St. Louis Composting, 9 locations in the St. Louis area. They're all there for you. If you want to check out mulch, they have multiple kinds of mulch that you can choose from. If you want soil, They have all different kinds, including the coveted Missouri Botanical Garden soil that is available in bags. They have compost as well. Growing Gardens, making memories. You can order bulk delivery of compost, soil, and mulch to your home or business. Just go to stlcompost.com and you can have it delivered. You can order online. You can use their cubic yard calculator. That's what we did for our mulch. By the way, they're out of the Black Forest mulch, but they have everything else right now. St. Louis Composting, Growing Gardens, making memories.
Your health story is shaped by more than genetics. Everyday choices like nutrition, physical activity, sleep, tobacco use, and routine screenings all play a role in your future health. Sightman Cancer Center's Your Disease Risk helps you understand how family history and lifestyle work together, offering personalized insights to support healthier decisions. Knowing your risks today can help protect your tomorrow. Visit sightman.washU.edu/YDR.
The soundtrack of classic rock is coming to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater August 6th. Leonard Skinner and Foreigner joining forces for one epic night of legendary hits and unforgettable memories. It's the Double Trouble Double Vision Tour. From Sweet Home Alabama to Cold as Ice. Don't miss your chance to experience these two Rock and Roll Hall of Fame acts in one incredible show. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX. Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
It is 6:50 and time for us to get you a check of traffic and weather. We start with Roger Brand, who's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's still not bad out there. Getting a little busier, Debbie, but so far so good for the most part. This traffic reports the service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. If you're on northbound 270, slow stuff. North of Big Bend through Doherty Ferry, picking up the pace before you get to Manchester. South 270, Olive down through the work zone past Ladue. The right lane starting to back up. Starting to see a little backup out west. Southbound 61 ramping on to eastbound 70 out in Wentzville. But once you hit the highway 64 or 70 in Wentzville, looking great across the Missouri River bridges. They do have the right lane blocked for a car that either lost a wheel or it has a flat and the car's abandoned. They can't move it, so they have the right lane blocked. This is eastbound 70 at Florissant Road in Cool Valley. Eastbound 70 downtown, by the way, still looks good heading into Tucker. Seeing a little delays eastbound 30 at Gravois Bluffs. Mauer Industrial to 270, sort of busy. Northbound Tesson Ferry approaching Kennerly, a bit of a backup. And there's a jam now instead of a slowdown. Northbound 255 from 5570 up to Horseshoe Lake Road. The two right lanes and the exit are closed there. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. We're partners committed to you, your business, and your community. From family law to litigation, we're ready to serve. Visit SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
AccuWeather's Carl Erickson says partly sunny, high 75 today. Tonight, mostly cloudy, maybe just a stray evening shower. Other than that, cloudy, low 63 tonight. Tomorrow, pleasant with clouds and sunshine and a high of 84. Currently, it's 61 in Florissant, 61 in St. Peters, cloudy and 62 downtown at the Arch.
It is 6:52, and starting in July next year, there will be a new department in the Illinois governor's cabinet to assist and fight for people with disabilities.
Governor Pritzker has just signed legislation that creates the cabinet-level Illinois Department of Disability Advocacy and Guardianship, and it replaces the Illinois Guardianship and Advocacy Commission Agency. Assistant Majority Leader Bob Morgan, who represents District 58 on the North Shore, said the commission has done critical, life-changing work for decades, and elevating this to a cabinet-level department sends a clear message. Disability rights are a state priority, and Illinois is committed to giving this mission the standing it deserves. Jan Coleman, 105.9 WBBM.
And now Bernie Tafoya on a new study that says exoskeleton therapy could help improve outcomes for stroke patients who are relearning to walk.
The Shirley Ryan Ability Lab says it found that by using exoskeleton therapy, stroke survivors wound up with a greater joint range of motion and increased step length and height and similar muscle activation compared to conventional therapy. Patients also report being more motivated and enjoying the therapy. The way it works is both therapists and patients wear exoskeleton devices on their hips and legs, and when therapists take steps, They virtually help patients mirror their movements. The study is published in Science Robotics. Each year, nearly 800,000 Americans survive a stroke, and many of them have to relearn to walk. Bernie Tafoya, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Not good. I'm Fred Bottomer with 60 Seconds to Better Health. We are hearing about a rise in cases of uterine cancer. Here's ABC News correspondent Alex Stone.
Uterine cancer, also called endometrial cancer, is the fourth most common cancer found in women in the U.S. Postmenopausal women have the highest risk, but over the past 20 years, younger women are also being diagnosed. Black women in particular are twice as likely to die from uterine cancer compared to white women. Though genetics can play a part, up to 60% of the risk for this disease is due to underlying reasons, obesity being the strongest risk factor. Diabetes, certain medications, including those for preventing breast cancer and not having children, also significantly increases the risk. Taking the hormone progesterone long-term decreases the risk by an estimated 40%. The most common symptom of uterine cancer is abnormal vaginal bleeding. Other red flags include fibroids and pelvic or abdominal pain.
With 60 Seconds to Better Health, I'm Fred Bottomer.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
It is a big birthday for two sports celebrities who helped the Cardinals to championships. Here's one.
Clark pounding at the 27-yard line. Warner to throw. Going deep downfield, adjusting for it is Isaac Bruce. And Isaac Bruce threads his way for a touchdown.
Kurt Warner delivered that pass, and the Hall of Fame quarterback is celebrating his 55th birthday today. What an unbelievable moment in St. Louis sports history as the Rams went on to win the Super Bowl in that 1999 season. Also celebrating a birthday today, this man who helped close down the World Series.
0-1 delivery. Here she comes. Swinging a high drive into left. Back goes to Craig. He's at the track. He has it, and the Cardinals are world champion for 2011.
And embracing on the mound was Jason Mott with Yadier Molina. Motter is celebrating his 44th birthday today.
The birthday shout-out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back. Happy birthday wishes going out to Kelly Spencer. Also, Jolene Braden, Mary Roth, Rochelle Rauscher, Jolene Braden from the Life Group, also Dawn Chapman, Molly Rockamon Cordy, Gail Pennington, and Brooke Roseberry.
This is the best birthday ever.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plate. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
At EasyCater, we believe every workday gets better with great food. Like that morning status meeting, always better with bagels. And don't forget the coffee. Ops team working late? How about some Power Bowls to keep them going strong? Sandy's celebrating 10 years at the company. This calls for cupcakes. With EasyCater, you get a huge variety of favorite restaurants with tools to help meet dietary needs and stay on budget, all on one platform. So make every workday better with EasyCater. Start an order at easycater.com.
Why'd I go to the doctor?
Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Here is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got an issue with the right lane blocked up at eastbound 70 at Florissant Road in Cool Valley, a stalled vehicle there. It doesn't seem to be bothering anybody, though. Southbound 61, you got some slow traffic, Wentzville Parkway down to 64 or 70, but after that, you're good to go across the Missouri River bridges, either route you choose. Northbound 270, Doherty Ferry to Manchester, South 270, Olive down to Ledoux, kind of slow. And on the Illinois side, we have this jam northbound at 255 from right at 5570 up to Horseshoe Lake Road. Again, the right lanes are closed in each direction, and the northbound exit is also closed. Next update at 6:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. Vice President Vance in Switzerland said there was progress following the first round of talks with Iran, including on ending Israel's strikes on Hezbollah in Lebanon.
If Hezbollah fires at Israel or if Israel responds, if there are other conflicts that arise in the region, we're actually talking to each other and figuring out how to stop the shooting, how to make the region safer, our allies and everybody else.
The UK is going to have its 7th Prime Minister in 10 years as Keir Starmer is stepping down. Former Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham confirms he will run to succeed Starmer as the Labour leader. Starmer will remain in office until a successor is chosen. Former Federal Reserve Chair Alan Greenspan has died at 100. He chaired the Fed for 20 years through the booming 1990s, but some of his policies were blamed as contributing factors to the 2008 financial crisis. This is ABC News. Authorities in Maryland discovered the bodies of 3 people in the wreckage of an aircraft in a wooded area of Bowie, Maryland. The state police says the bodies of 3 adult men were recovered. Investigators believe the aircraft belonged to a local flight school, and it may have been taking part in a training flight. Tesla's autopilot features under scrutiny again after a 76-year-old woman was killed in her Texas home, says ABC's Rena Roy.
The 44-year-old driver, Michael Butler, allegedly told deputies he was using his car's automated driving system. Now investigators are working to determine if that technology played a role. Back in 2023, Tesla recalled more than 2 million cars after regulators raised concern that the system did not adequately ensure drivers stayed attentive.
State of New York's forming an exploratory committee to consider whether New York City and Lake Placid should bid to co-host a future Winter Olympics. I'm Brian Clark, ABC News.
It is 7:02, and right now we've got cloudy skies, 62 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. In the news this morning, a Missouri judge has struck down a series of restrictions on abortion in the state.
The court found the restrictions were in violation of a constitutional amendment adopted by voters in 2024. Among the provisions thrown out in Thursday's ruling, a 72-hour waiting period and rules that kept Planned Parenthood affiliates from prescribing abortion pills to patients in Missouri. Enforcement of some of the restrictions had already been on hold, and abortion rights advocates tell the Associated Press they are encouraged. However, the state's attorney general is planning an appeal, and voters will get the final word on the 2024 constitutional amendment this November. Ivy Lyons, KMOX News.
Also in St. Louis County, they want to ask voters for a new property tax this fall, this one to fund senior services.
The county council is moving to put it on the November ballot, 5 cents per $100 of assessed value, paying for programs for residents 60 and older, with the money overseen by an independent board. A Democrat and a Republican are co-sponsoring it, but the proposal drew a sharp objection at public comment from Tom Sullivan.
Also, the senior services tax has already been rejected by voters, same as the use tax.
What's the point of having elections if you're not going to accept the results?
Voters did turn down the tax in 2016, though it did lose narrowly with nearly half in favor. Supporters at the Seniors Count Group say the need among seniors has only grown since. A final council vote is still to come. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Statistics show animal attacks are relatively flat in St. Louis dating back to 2023. But do they paint a complete picture?
Not necessarily, with St. Louis City Animal Regulation Supervisor Kristen Zellen telling KMOX most of the reports of dog bites don't come directly from victims.
And a lot of these bites come in not reported by citizens, but by hospitals or urgent cares that are mandatory reporters for any animal bite.
Zellen says many people are concerned about retaliation if they report they have been attacked by someone's dog, but she says all reports are anonymous. She adds they have a high success rate of finding the attacking dogs if they aren't strays, but they need victims and witnesses to come forward, pointing to the attack and killing of the dog belonging to the owner of Steve's Hot Dogs as an example that has drawn a lot of attention. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Gravois, the most dangerous road last year in St. Louis City, according to TrailNet's State of Our Streets reports that was released yesterday. The report shows 23 motor vehicle crashes occurring on Gravois last year, resulting in 19 injuries and 4 deaths. And arterial roads remain dangerous for pedestrians, with nearly 85% of pedestrians and 66% of cyclist fatalities occurring on arterial roads.
Average gas prices in the St. Louis region are 16.5 cents cheaper today than they were last week. Today's average price per gallon sits at $3.81, according to Gas Buddy. That's almost 57 cents cheaper than a month ago, 83 cents higher than a year ago. Missouri's overall average price per gallon sits at $3.62, while Illinois comes in at $4.13.
The 2026 tornado count is already breaking records in Illinois. We get more from Haley Hansen.
A week after a tornado outbreak moved through the state, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration data shows Illinois is, once again, leading the nation for its twister count. So far this year, the state's recorded more than 160 tornadoes. Mississippi has the second highest count, with just half of Illinois' total. The NOAA numbers also mean Illinois already beat its previous record of 142 tornadoes set 2 years ago.
At least 2 tornadoes ripped through Dixon last night, according to the Jefferson County Sheriff. 2 people are dead, 5 more transported to the hospital following the storms.
Also this morning, the Illinois state bean is now officially the soybean.
Offering tax exemptions for fuel retailers who sell higher blends of biodiesel, hoping that will increase the state's soybean consumption. Besides keeping diesel prices low, Taxi says the exemption will also benefit consumers.
The more soybeans that are crushed domestically, there is more soybean meal being produced as well, and that can help lower the costs of our food because the animals are cheaper to feed.
Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
Learn more at 824.
All right. In case you haven't heard this story yet, there's something going on in Granite City this afternoon that you might be interested in, or maybe not. A Granite City Public Works Department employee this afternoon will attempt to eat a 4.5-pound steak, baked potato, 3 shrimp, a side salad, and a roll in less than an hour. It's part of the Route 66 caravan joining forces with Big Texan Steak Ranch of Amarillo, Texas. That's been a Route 66 destination since 1960. Rodney Cox will start stuffing his face at 4 at Electric Neon Sign Park. Now, the owner of Big Texan Steak Ranch says it's more than just a food challenge. He says it's a celebration of Americana and the spirit of Route 66. Spectators are encouraged to bring their classic or vintage cars and join in the fun.
I'll tell you what, I haven't eaten anything yet today. Every time you bring up this story, I think of steak. The way this is going, I may join them.
I don't know if you can actually help him with the steak.
No, I'll have my own.
Oh, yeah. Eat side by side, encouraging him.
Yeah, you got another 72-ouncer out there, Granite City Public Works Department. It is 7:08. Traffic and weather next.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Norm Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 7:10 and time to get you updated on traffic and weather. Let's start with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it still looks good out there, Debbie. I mean, we do have some slow traffic on 270, but it's not bad. North 270 just a little slow passing Doherty Ferry midway up to Manchester. South 270 is off the pace from Olive down through Ladue in the construction zone. Of course, the right lane's the worst there. Southbound 61 right now looks fine. Getting onto eastbound 6470 coming out of St. Charles County across the Missouri River bridges. Still the right lane blocked. No delays, though. It's actually an abandoned vehicle, but I think it either lost a wheel or has a flat tire. Right lane's blocked, eastbound 70 at Florissant Road, but traffic's getting around it okay. Downtown, traffic's still hustling into Tucker, so there's no backup, even though the express lanes are closed. And, of course, for at least the next week, 44 will remain closed between the Poplar and Muswell Veterans Bridges. On the Illinois side, we do have this jam. I've been talking about this road work getting started last hour. Northbound 255 is on the brakes at 5570 up to Horseshoe Lake Road. The two right lanes are closed both directions on 255 at Horseshoe Lake Road, and the northbound exit ramp and southbound on-ramps also closed. This project running through the 30th. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, it's going to be a sunny day, high 75 today, mostly cloudy tonight, maybe a stray evening shower, but that's it, low 63. Tomorrow, pleasant again with clouds and sunshine and a high of 84. Currently, it's cloudy, 62 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It is 7:11. A funding winter is facing many nonprofits now. Jim Mosquera with Community Value Alliance says the St. Louis region has more than 23,000 nonprofits. He hopes a Greater St. Louis, Inc. East-West Gateway study on making the region better includes a look at our nonprofit ecosystem.
The economic activity that's being generated by nonprofits in the St. Louis area is actually pretty large. So it's not just, that they're taking care of some of the services that maybe government doesn't provide or subcontracts, but they're also an employer as well, right? So we have to think about that.
Mosquera says there's a lot of fragmentation and duplication with organizations doing the same thing, and they could look at merging. Also, many are formed for personal reasons without the founders realizing it's a business and needs to be run as such. Hear more at 8:42.
After 6 years of running O'Connell's largely on his own, John Parker Jr. is ready to hand it off. He sold the 64-year-old pub, which traces its roots back to Gaslight Square. Parker says he did everything he could himself, but a father of three found himself wearing every hat left him with no room for a life.
I also had to be the subcontractor, and I also had to be the final word on hiring somebody and exactly how to manage our finances. And it was just a little bit too much for me to do and sort of have a life and be a good dad and, try to get out a little bit.
The sale is set to close early next year.
Kokomo Joe's Family Fun Center in St. Peters is expanding, building a first of its kind in the region multi-level indoor go-kart track. No cost for the project has been released, but it should open this year. Kokomo Joe's currently has bowling, laser tag, escape rooms, and more than 100 arcade games, among other things. It first opened in 2013. According to the Business Journal, the trampoline park has been closed to create room for the 20,000 square foot track.
The founder of the award-winning Jilly's Cupcake Bar and Cafe has died. Jill Siegel opened Jilly's in 2007 in University City. In 2014, she received the Achievement of Excellence Award from the American Culinary Federation.
Chef Casey Schiller shared the news of Siegel's death over the weekend on his Facebook page. Schiller represented Jilly's on Cupcake Wars, winning it twice. He says longtime employees will carry on Siegel's vision.
A Southeast Missouri man known as college basketball's winningest coach has died.
Naismith Basketball Hall of Famer Gene Bess passed away Friday at home in Poplar Bluff at age 91, according to his son. Bess guided the Three Rivers College Raiders to a mark of 1,300 and 416 over his career, spanning from 1971 until 2020.
I'm truly blessed to have coached over 400 players, winning 2 national championships and having the record of 1,300 wins. It takes a village to accomplish this.
From his Hall of Fame speech in 2023, Brad Choate, KMOX News.
Brad, thank you very much. Let's get to our cut of the game, sponsored by The Diamond Shop, thediamondshop.net, wasting no time in Kansas City yesterday, J.J. Wetherholt.
There's a swing and a high fly ball. That's hit to deep center field. It might go. That's a gunner. A gunner leading off the game for J.J. Wetherholt.
Cardinals were going bombs away here. Mason Wynn had a 3-run homer. They were up 5-0 in the second inning. It's J.J. again.
There's a swing and a high fly ball hit to deep left. This has a chance at the wall. It's a gunner. Wetherholt with an opposite field home run. Isaac Collins got to the wall, and the ball sailed into the bullpen. The 2 runs the Royals scored in the bottom of the first. Wetherholt gets them back with a 2-run shot in the second.
Cardinals were up 9-2 in the second. That's plenty for Dustin May, right? Well, maybe not. Bottom of the second.
The 2-1 pitch. There's a high fly ball. That is blistered to left field and long gone. A home run for Lofton, his second of the year. And the Royals have answered with a 2-run second inning. From the stretch. A long pause, May with the pitch, a swing, and there's a long one to right center field, and that one leaves the yard. That's up in the water spectacular. A 4-run second inning for the Royals as Collins scores ahead of Caglione.
I don't know what the heck's going on there. You heard John Rooney say long pause. Maybe just was off rhythm, couldn't get his mechanics. Something was wrong. Dustin May gets lit up after a one-hitter. He gives up 6 runs in 2 innings. And the Cardinals needed all they could put up there. They put up 12 runs and won it 12-10. Ivan Herrera hit a home run late that gave the Cardinals the cushion that they needed. And they used a whole bunch of relievers in this game. And that means Andre Palante needs to be on his game today. The Cardinals burned all kinds of relievers. Some of them will be available tonight. But after May went 2, they went Rajic, Swanson, Graceffo, Romero, Stanek, Soriano, and O'Brien. They basically emptied the bullpen as the Cardinals won the game 12-10. They salvage a game in the series, and the standings still look pretty good for them. They're 5 games out in the National League Central with a record of 41-34, and they are the number 1 wildcard team in the National League. The Phillies and the Cubs are 2-3, respectively. Cardinals and Diamondbacks tonight at 6:45 with a 5:50 pregame. But, of course, we have plenty of coverage here on KMOX, including the Gas House Gang, which comes your way at noon with Chris Ranji and me. Mike Claiborne will join us on that show. The U.S. Open goes to Wyndham Clark for the second time. Dan Reardon has a report on that in a half hour. And Cape Verde, they are the story so far of the World Cup as they have a 2-2 draw with Uruguay. They already had a scoreless draw with Spain, and they have a chance to make it to the next round. Pretty incredible. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
The legendary Fast Eddie at Fast Eddie's Bon Air and St. Louis baseball legend Jason Isringhausen.
Izzy, what's going on, man? You know what, Eddie boy, I've been pretty busy. Got to get out there and got to do the mowing. Yep, I'll tell you what, when you get done mowing the grass. Well, I do my best Forrest Gump impression with all of that mowing I have to do around the property. Do it for St. Louis, do it. Like Mama said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, except at Fast Eddie's Bon Air. What are we going to get at Fast Eddie's? Let me get it right. You can come on over to Fast Eddie's Bar Bon Air, located on the other side of Clark Bridge in beautiful Alton, Illinois. When you're done mowing the grass, come over here and lounge around with me on the beautiful outdoor patio with all the big screens, the live music playing, the hot chick on a stick. What about that fancy surf and turf you came up with? Man, I'm telling you what, that is meat and seafood on one stick. And it's called the Eddie. It's the king of all foods. Like Mr. Shannon always said, if you're 21 and in the mood, come on over to that Clark Bridge and come see Fast Eddie's Bon Air in beautiful Alton, Illinois.
I had such a great time last week at the Humane Society of Missouri because it was Purses for Pooches. And no, it's not about purses for dogs. It's about purses for people. But the money raised, of course, goes to help the dogs and all the animals at the Humane Society of Missouri and the Animal Cruelty Task Force and so many other things. Saw Fire Chief Dennis Jenkerson there. He was auctioning off a firefighter for a day package. We even got to see Boba. Do you remember Boba? Boba was the MVP of the Puppy Bowl this last year. He was on Team Fluff. Anyway, he's a lot bigger than he was then. Puppies grow quickly. Anyway, just a great night because I may have cried about 7 times watching the videos that they showed of the animals that are rescued in terrible condition and then what they look like today after love and care and finding forever homes, because that's what they do at the Humane Society of Missouri. The Animal Cruelty Task Force puts on tens of thousands of miles a year driving all over the state of Missouri to rescue animals in need. You can always help by logging on to hsmo.org. It's the Humane Society of Missouri.
Zero Res wants to help clean your home. Big summer savings with 3 rooms clean starting at just $129 and take an additional $100 off your air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and ask for the DGS special.
Now the news at 9 The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
720, Roger Brand at the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's still not a bad morning out there, Tom, to get in and get going and drive to wherever you need to get to. I'm still looking at this situation. The tow truck did arrive on the scene, but the right lane's still closed. Eastbound 70 at Florissant Road in Cool Valley, where we've had this stall. Traffic is not heavy enough that it's bothering anybody through there so far, and it still looks good downtown. Getting in, of course, the express lanes are closed. 44 is closed still for another week between the Poplar Mutual Veterans Bridges, so you have to get off eastbound 70 at Tucker, but again, there's no delays getting up to that exit point. If you're on northbound 270, there's some slow stuff. Sappington to Gravois, Doherty Ferry up to Manchester, South 270, Olive down to Ladue, that's busy. Westbound 64, seeing a little slow traffic from McCausland out through Hanley. If you're on northbound Tesson Ferry, it's just a little busy. Schussler up Kennerly area. Eastbound 30, a little heavy at Gravois Bluffs. And West Watson up to 270 is kind of slow in spots. But on the Illinois side, we do have this roadwork jam. Northbound 255 backed up at 5570 after Horseshoe Lake Road. Again, the right lanes are closed both directions there for the next 8 days. And the northbound exit to Horseshoe Lake and the southbound on-ramp from Horseshoe Lake also closed. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is going to be partly sunny with a high of 75. Tomorrow gets warmer, clouds and sun, 84. Wednesday, a high of 80 and a chance of a thunderstorm returning. It's 62 and cloudy right now.
The news continues at 7:22. You may have noticed that 3 years ago, purple recycling bins started popping up around St. Louis. What you may not have known is that those bins collect recycled glass, including glass bottles and candle jars.
Franklin Rosario is the regional manager of Ripple Glass, the company that collects and processes the glass here in the city. He gives KMOX's Jade Aubrey more on where the glass goes after residents recycle it.
So how many purple bins are in the St. Louis area?
We have 14 drop-off locations currently. That covers St. Louis City, St. Louis County, Jefferson County, and St. Charles County.
That was going to be my next question. I'm also personally curious, why are the bins purple?
So the bins are purple because that goes back to kind of the founding of Ripple back in 2009 in Kansas City. You know, traditionally, recycling trash. It's green and blue, right? Those are the two main colors. And we wanted to set ourselves apart. Our bins, as you've probably seen, are quite visible to the public. And part of the appeal is that they don't just look like an old dumpster, right? They're bright, they're pretty, and they're meant to more draw eyes to them rather than to be an eyesore. So we picked purple because it's vibrant, it looks good, and we've really kind of made purple the color of glass over the last 16 years.
Yeah, I heard you say it started in Kansas City, and then 16 years. Is that when the purple bins came to St. Louis?
Yeah, so the purple bin started in St. Louis in 2023, I believe, right at the end of 2023. So this is kind of really our second full year in operation here.
Gotcha. Do you plan on having more than the 14 bins? Is this something that's planning to expand?
Absolutely, yep. I run the program here, and we're always kind of looking for new locations. We're in active discussions right now with several different spots. Basically, once we call them bin hosts, to agree to host a bin on their site, wherever that may be, we bring one in and put it down.
Gotcha. And do you have a partnership with the city or the recycling company?
We do not currently. So we have two bins in the city, one at IKEA and one at Rooster in South Grand. Those are both private partnerships, but obviously available for use to all of the city residents.
And then can you go over what can and can't be recycled in the purple bins?
Sure. So any kind of food and beverage container, I always tell people anything you can find in a grocery store that's packaged in glass can go into our bins. We can take plate glass, so like the frames of a picture frame, something like that. We can take kitchenware, so pint glasses, wine glasses. There are certain things that we can't. So we can't take mirrors. We can't take ceramics. A lot of people, think that a ceramic mug is glass because it kind of breaks the same way, but it is assuredly not. And we can't take Pyrex glass, so like something you would put in your oven, Corningware. We can't take that, but basically any other type of glass can go into our bins.
Yeah, and I heard of this through the St. Louis Recycling Facebook post that candle jars can be recycled. Do those need to be cleaned out? Can you just toss a candle jar in there?
Yes, absolutely. So we can take candle jars. If there's a little bit leftover wax, that's just fine. You can leave, you don't have to clean it out at all. Same goes for, if you have a jar of pasta sauce or jelly or pickles, something like that. You don't have to clean those out. It might smell a little bit better when you're waiting to bring your glass to the bin, but it certainly is not necessary.
Yeah, and do you guys process the glass yourself?
Yes, we do. So essentially what we are doing is processing the glass to a point where it's ready to be remanufactured into something else. So we have a location in downtown St. Louis, right on the North Riverfront, where we, in the simplest of terms, we break it all up, we crush it down really small, and then we sort it by color so that it can find its next end market, whether that be new bottles or fiberglass. Those are really the two main ones.
I saw on your website that had a quote on there that says our processing plant and partner companies keep it local. Is that glass usually redistributed in the city?
Yeah, so our end product is called cullet, right? So bottle cullet and fiberglass cullet. The bottle cullet will go to a bottle manufacturing plant here in Missouri, and then the fiberglass cullet will go to one just across the border in Kansas, near Kansas City.
That is Franklin Rosario, Regional Manager of Ripple Glass, speaking with KMOX's Jade Aubrey.
It's 7:27. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Oh, it is summertime at the Missouri Athletic Club. Had a nice meeting. Decided, where I want to have a coffee meeting? I want to have it at the MAC outside. It was a beautiful day. It was nice to be able to relax, have coffee, meet with a colleague, and just talk business. And the Missouri Athletic Club can do that for you, business or just socializing with your friends, hanging out with the family. The pool at the MAC does all of that. The Missouri Athletic Club West, the MAC West is what we call it, in Town and Country on De Pere Road. Then there's the MAC Clayton, which just opened this year. 2 floors of the Pierre Laclede Center in Clayton. You talk about a business hub. I got to get over there for lunch. Might do that very, very soon. The Missouri Athletic Club for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They have multiple areas in that Clayton location where you can do that. And then, of course, there's the historic downtown clubhouse that everybody knows, 405 Washington Avenue, the Missouri Athletic Club. Find us online mac-stl.org, the Missouri Athletic Club.
Summer is officially here, and that means the family internet, it is working overtime. All our lives are always online, and that's why I rely on i3 Broadband. Traditional cable just can't keep up, but i3 delivers 100% true fiber directly into my home for ultra-smooth, reliable performance. Plus, they're a local provider that actually treats you like a neighbor. Skip the fake fiber. Head over to i3broadband.com/radio today or call 866-806-5485 to upgrade, because life runs better on fiber, and i3 Broadband is here for you.
Amendment 4 on the August ballot hides some ugly facts. It would create a new minority veto power, but only for ballot issues that are citizen-led.
I just say no to that.
Amendment 4 permanently ends majority rule for citizen-led ballot issues.
I'm a no on 4.
Politicians put Amendment 4 on the ballot to severely limit citizens' constitutional power.
I say no on 4.
4 is a power grab by politicians. It lets one congressional district veto reforms backed by the majority of voters statewide, giving as few as 5% of voters control over the rest of us.
That's why I say no to 4.
4 would make it nearly impossible to rein in out-of-control politicians.
I say heck no.
4 takes away our constitutional power we've used for over 100 years to pass reforms that politicians wouldn't. Keep majority rule and your power. Just say no to Amendment 4. It's an ugly politician power grab. Paid for by Missourians for Fair Governance.
I built this business the old-fashioned way. Hard work and a whole lot of spreadsheets.
Yeah, about that, I upgraded us to Odoo. Odoo puts everything we need, sales, inventory, accounting, on one connected platform. No more juggling systems, no more headaches.
So it all works together?
Exactly.
Odoo is the all-in-one business software that makes running and passing on a business easier than ever. Take your business into the next generation. Try Odoo free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
It is 7:30. We have cloudy skies, a little breezy downtown. It is 62 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they just literally like 20 seconds ago opened up that right lane. They cleared that stalled auto we had eastbound 70 at Florissant Road in Cool Valley. Eastbound 70 still looks great coming in from, well, really Warrenton. There's no issue. No delays downtown. We still look okay coming through Tucker. That's your final exit point, of course, if you're coming into downtown. The express lanes and 44 between the Poplar and Mutual Veterans Bridges, unfortunately, remains closed. Southbound 270 approaching Olive down to Ladue. That's slow. North 270 is some slower traffic approaching Tesson Ferry to Gravois and approaching Big Bend up to Manchester as well. Out west, southbound 61 still okay. Eastbound 64 a little slow at the Interbelt. Westbound 64 Hampton to Hanley, the typical heavier traffic running through there. And on the Illinois side, you've got that jam on northbound 255 from 5570 up to Horseshoe Lake Road. The two right lanes are closed both directions through there, and the northbound exit ramp to Horseshoe Lake closed. Southbound on-ramp is also closed. This project running from this morning through the end of the month. Next update at 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
All right, partly sunny today with a high of 75. We could see a stray evening shower with an overnight low of 63. Then sun and clouds 84 tomorrow. It's 62 with cloudy skies right now.
It's 7:31. Over 90% of last year's pedestrian deaths occurred on St. Louis City roads with a speed limit over 25 miles per hour. That's according to TrailNet's State of Our Streets reports, which was released today. The report shows half of those pedestrian deaths occurred on streets with speed limits of 35 miles per hour. It also found that many of the most severe pedestrian crashes occurred just beyond intersections.
A truck plowed into an Arnold Clinic and School for Children with Disabilities about 2 a.m. Saturday morning. It was the Opportunities Without Limits. The Arnold Police Department says a driver fell asleep on I-55. The truck went off the highway, smashed into the building. While the facility sustained extensive damage, no one was inside at the time. The driver suffered minor injuries.
St. Louis County voters are looking at not one, but two tax questions this year.
A use tax on online purchases is on the August ballot. Now, the County Council is moving to add a senior services property tax in November, 5 cents per $100 of value to pay for programs for older residents. At least one resident, Tom Sullivan, says the county is asking for too much.
The senior services tax would be the second tax increase you want to put on county taxpayers
with a possible third coming down the line.
The senior tax would raise an estimated $15 million for residents 60 and older, distributed by an independent board. If voters approve it in November, the money would start reaching senior programs in 2028. The council still has to take a final vote. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Broadway Ford truck sales near Bell Fountain Cemetery filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in May. Now St. Louis Bank is suing them for $11 million. A sale of the company is planned. According to the Business Journal, the dealership will maintain normal operations throughout the process. Broadway Ford reportedly sold more than 1,000 vehicles last year, making it one of the Midwest's biggest commercial truck centers.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts. michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your Money Minute next.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
At EasyCater, we believe every workday gets better with great food. Like that morning status meeting, always better with bagels. And don't forget the coffee. Ops team working late? How about some power bowls to keep them going strong? Sandy's celebrating 10 years at the company. This calls for cupcakes. With EasyCater, you get a huge variety of favorite restaurants with tools to help meet dietary needs and stay on budget, all on one platform. So make every workday better with EasyCater. Start an order at easycater.com.
It is 7:34. This is Total Information AM, and time for your money report, which is sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Shares of Getty Images surging in early trading after the stock photo company announced a licensing deal with OpenAI. The images from Getty's library will appear in search and discovery features of ChatGPT. The companies did not share financial terms or disclose any details over whether Getty's images would be used to train future OpenAI models. Checking on your money, markets are set to reopen after the long weekend. S&P futures are little changed this morning. The event of the week for Wall Street comes on Thursday when the government releases another look at the inflation picture. And the World Cup is giving some office workers an unexpected perk: permission to stay home. Many employers in host cities are encouraging staff to work remotely on match days to avoid expected traffic headaches and delays. Even with the push to get employees back to the office, a recent survey has found that workers are spending more than a quarter of their paid days at home. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the take care of my family goal. This is the enjoy the life I've built goal. This is the set up a foundation goal. This is Busey, where your goals become lasting legacies. Through bespoke plans that maximize your wealth, through partnerships that give you peace of mind. Because building wealth, tending to it, and passing it down secures a brighter future. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
To catch Team USA in the FIFA World Cup 26th and the Beer Garden at Anheuser-Busch. We hosted KMOX listeners there last week, and trust us, the atmosphere is incredible. Huge screens, great seats everywhere, ice-cold beer, $15 Michelob Ultra pitchers, $20 Ultra buckets, $5 Ultra drafts, and collectible FIFA cups while supplies last. Bring your crew, cheer on Team USA at the Beer Garden. Visit BudweiserTours.com for details.
You just testified under oath you're getting more fiber in your diet, and it was easy? Where is this additional fiber coming from?
Mirafiber gummies.
Objection!
It's true. Mirafiber has 8 grams of fiber to help me get the fiber I need in a day, plus 4 B vitamins for metabolism support, all in one serving.
Overruled.
My gut rests its case.
Oh, that's my line.
Find Mirafiber today at your local retailer from the makers of Miralax. Mirafiber supports metabolism of carbs, fats, and proteins. Serving size is 4 gummies.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
If you are looking for a place for independent living for older adults, the place is Fairwinds River's Edge in St. Charles. It was voted U.S. News and World Report's best independent living for 5 consecutive years. They have social events for the residents there, wellness programs. Just go to fairwindsriversedge.com. Schedule a tour and hear about all of the great new updated spaces, all the dining, the social events, the best. fairwindsriversedge.com.
The financial industry is getting rich on baby boomers. Don't be their next victim. Find out the truth of what's really going on in the retirement industry. Join Greg Ayler Saturdays at 1 on Fire Your Financial Advisor.
Are moles tearing up your yard? Don't let these lawn invaders turn your beautiful property into a mess. Rottler Pest Solutions offers professional mole control services to protect your lawn from damage. Visit Rottler.com today to schedule your free inspection.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
It's 7:39. Iran's foreign minister says progress was made in mediated talks with the U.S. overnight. Renewed Israeli attacks prompted Iran to once again threaten to close the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump lashed out yesterday, warning Iran, quote, "You close it and you won't have a country. You won't even make it back to your expletive country." Iran's delegation walked out of the Swiss venue where talks are being held, but overnight came word that talks continued.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer announcing this morning he's resigning. Starmer, who returned the Labour Party to power for the first time in more than a decade, said he's proud of his short track record as leader. He'll remain Prime Minister for the next few weeks because by Labour Party rules, there will now be a contest within the party, which he said is going to be in July. All eyes will be on Andy Burnham, who will be sworn in as Labour MP this afternoon.
It's 7:40. Let's check in with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, slow traffic out there, but it's not terrible, Tom, thankfully. This traffic reports the service of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Northbound 270, just a little slow test on ferry to the Sappington Road overpass. It's bogged down from 44 all the way up to Manchester, but then it's not so bad. Southbound 270, 364 down through Ladue, and the work zone's kind of busy. Out west, 7064, southbound 61 all look great coming out of St. Charles County. You may find a backup on the exit to 94. I can see the westbound 94 exit backing up. The signals are on red flash on 94, First Capitol Drive at Highway 70, so it's making it difficult to get up and onto that stretch of roadway, obviously. Southbound 170 are bogged down from Delmar down to 64. Eastbound 64, McKnight to Big Bend busy. Westbound 64 approaching from the Science Center is backed up out through the city limits. If you're on westbound 64 downtown, slow traffic across the Poplar, and northbound 255 is on the brakes from 5570 up to Horseshoe Lake Road. Again, they have the right lanes closed, 2 right lanes, both directions at Horseshoe Lake Road. The northbound exit and southbound on-ramp also closed. We have an injury crash, Route 3 at New Pogue Road. They're sending emergency crews there right now. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis for their 26-point tune-up. It's one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Always look for the genuine, the original red ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Next update at 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Right now, looking out the window here, Studio B in downtown West, it looks cloudy and breezy. It was kind of a cool ride in this morning. Carl Erickson, our AccuWeather meteorologist, has the details on our forecast.
That's right, and a gray start to this Monday. That'll help to keep our temperatures rather cool for this time of the year, but perhaps a little peaks of sunshine will break through the cloudiness here this afternoon, high 75. Otherwise, mostly cloudy tonight. Much of the time will be rain-free. Just a brief shower around in the evening, but most of you staying dry with a low of 63. A great day tomorrow. More sunshine, warmer temperatures, high 84. And a typical summer day on Wednesday. Clouds and sunshine. It'll be warm and humid with a spotty afternoon thunderstorm, high 80. And if anything, it just gets more active as we head into Thursday and Friday with rounds of showers and thunderstorms, high 83 both days. Currently, with the cloudy sky overhead, it's 63 degrees in St. Peters. It's 62 in Florissant, and it's mostly cloudy and still 64 degrees downtown at the Arch. From the Seliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Carl Erickson on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's now 7:42. Vice President J.D. Vance says progress was made in peace talks with Iran. Tehran's foreign minister made a similar statement overnight. ABC's Tom Sufi Burridge is in Lucerne, where talks are being held.
J.D. Vance saying that the most exciting thing, in his words, has been the fact that the Iranians have agreed to allow UN nuclear inspectors back into the country. The vice president saying that is a first step in terms of ending Iran's nuclear program, but still clearly a lot of progress and hard work to be done.
President Trump saying Sunday that work will begin immediately to repair the peeling lining at the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. This comes as an administration official confirms at least 5 people have been arrested. They're now saying it's vandalism. That's what's wrong with the pool. More from ABC News senior White House correspondent Selena Wang.
This is something that's really been the president's prized project. He has repeatedly talked about how dirty and filthy the reflecting pool has been under previous administrations. He said before that this is something to be proud of. He even said, quote, it'll last for 50 to 100 years before you have to do anything with a very strong, powerful substance that we use.
Weeks before the first anniversary of deadly Central Texas flooding, investigators have concluded their probe into the disaster at one summer camp. It may be the final report on Camp Mystic, but ABC's Jim Ryan says it's unlikely to be the last word.
A scathing 115-page document details massive failures in policy and procedure at the century-old summer camp.
Camp Mystic had the means to appropriately protect its campers from severe weather.
But when severe weather did come last July 4th, investigator Michael Massengale says
there were no evacuation procedures, posted emergency plans.
Campers were told to shelter in place as floodwaters rose up. 25 of them would die, along with 2 counselors and Dick Eastland, the co-owner of Camp Mystic. Jim Ryan, ABC News in Dallas-Fort Worth.
On this first full day of summer, many teenagers who want to work have come up empty in their job searches. We get more from ABC's Allison Kosick.
One report predicts this summer could mark the lowest level for teen employment since 1948, when the government began tracking the data. Fewer employers are hiring 16 to 19-year-olds for a variety of reasons. Many starter jobs have been taken over by technology, and there's more competition these days from older, more experienced workers.
Let's get the latest from our broadcasters on the St. Louis Cardinals.
With Ricky Horton, I'm John Rooney, and a good old-fashioned American League game broke out yesterday. A combined 22 runs on 28 hits, 17 left on. The Cardinals outlasted the Royals. In the end, it was 12-10 Redbirds.
Hitting was really good in the entire Kansas City series. They got a season-high 12 runs, a season-high 16 hits, but it still came down to the final out. Riley O'Brien struggled in the ninth, gave up a couple runs, but was able to close it out.
The Royals had pressure on the Cardinal pitching staff Thursday, Friday, and Sunday.
Really a great series by Caglione, their first baseman, who had 4 home runs in the series. Very dangerous, and they had a lot of good at-bats, including, of course, their all-star catcher, Perez.
Stephen Kolek gave up 9 earned runs. It was Dustin May giving up 6. The starters weren't around long. Gordon Graceffo picked up the victory over Stephen Kolek, and the Cardinals are back home to play against Arizona tonight. We're on the air at 5:50.
6:45 first pitch at Busch Stadium. They weren't the only ones hitting home runs in the Cardinals organization. Number 25 off the bat of Joshua Baez.
Pennant race. This one in the air. Towering shot down the left field line. That ball is long gone.
He is the second minor leaguer to reach 25 home runs this season, 107 miles per hour off the bat, a 413-foot shot for the AAA Memphis Redbirds yesterday. They beat Nashville 10-8. Earlier in the day, I asked Chaim Bloom, the Cardinals president of baseball operations, what it would take to have Baez in a Cardinals uniform.
And then when you do that in A-ball and AA, it's not a given when you go to AAA that you're going to be able to continue to produce, and he certainly has. And it's really impressive and you know, not a surprise, but still something that you're grateful for. We know how hard he works and everything that he's done to try to get himself to this point career-wise. The thing that we've been looking at, just in terms of continuing some of the leap that he made last year, the power's always been there. And the power plays the more he's able to control the strike zone and the more he's able to make contact in the strike zone. And those things got to such a better place last year. And actually early this year, even with you know, some of the things he was able to do power-wise and some of the homers he was hitting, those things were not in that great of a place. And there's some adjustments that have been made with his programming we've seen over the past few weeks those things trend much more positively. And
Cardinals have an outfield right now of Lars Nootbaar, Nathan Church, and Jordan Walker. It's just a matter of opportunity at this point for Baez to make that move. 25 home runs for the Cardinals' top hitting prospect. Let's move to golf.
At 1:30 yesterday afternoon, Wyndham Clark stood on the first tee at Shinnecock with a 6-shot lead and a seemingly direct path to his second U.S. Open win. Exactly 5 hours later, he stood on the 18th tee, needing par to preserve the win. He didn't hit a great drive, thought he mishit his second shot, but used his reliable putter to tap in for the win. His closing 3 over 73 put him at -4 for the week. From the stoppage of play for darkness on Thursday to the tap-in on 18 on Sunday, he held the lead alone every step of the way. Sam Burns burned the lip at 18 with his birdie putt to get to 4 under, but could only wait for Clark to falter and have a chance. Over par rounds on Thursday and Sunday denied Scotty Scheffler a completion of the career slam on his birthday. The world number 1 finished even par, tied for 4th. Reporting on the U.S. Open, Dan Reardon for KMOX Radio Sports.
Thank you, Dan. Parlay of the Day, sponsored by Circa Sports, sports betting the way it should be. I don't know if you've been watching Spain recently, but their scoreless draw with Cape Verde was followed with an easy win yesterday. And their odds to win the World Cup now at plus 500. I would keep a close eye on that if you want a favorite. Spain could easily walk away with this thing, and it's only going to get narrower from there. 5 plus 500 is pretty good value still. If you're looking for a long shot, Netherlands at plus 1,400, I still will say is a pretty good number. Brazil at plus 1,350 is not bad at all. USA's jumped to plus 2,000. I know. I mean, if you want to take a run at it, go for it. I don't know if they can win the whole thing. It'd be an unbelievable story. But I'm just giving you facts. That's off the Circa Sports app. They're at plus 2,000 right now. It's our Parlay of the Day, sponsored by Circa Sports, sports betting the way it should be.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circa Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. For everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circa Sports app, then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circa Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I'm fixing to tell you something that the insurance industry does not want you to ever hear. Bullies often delay and deny. I see them sitting on premiums paid and making money and dragging it out for as long as they can. Many times, we're forced to take them to court. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Their high-paid lobbyists are on a mission to make sure that at trial, jurors are not allowed to learn that the at-fault party has insurance, and in some cases, lots of it. I can think of no case in all my years where there was no insurance for the at-fault party. So let's fight back. It's all these bullies understand. Tell everybody you know the truth. If you've been injured in a car crash or hurt at a store or business, visit forthepeople.com. We're here 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Get ready for a night back with legendary hits and non-stop energy. Bryan Adams is bringing the Roll with a Punches tour to Enterprise Center Friday, July 24th.
Hello, this is Bryan Adams.
Sing along to the classics as Bryan Adams delivers an unforgettable night of rock anthems. Plus, special guests Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo. Bryan Adams, July 24th. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX. Now the news at 1 The Fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 7:52. Let's check in with Roger Brandon, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we got slow traffic on North 270 right now, Debbie. A little busy north of Gravois, not that big a deal, but it is slow from 44 all the way up to Manchester. South 270 approaching 364 all the way down to Ladou's busy. Eastbound 30, some slow traffic from Mauer Industrial to 270. If you're on eastbound Highway 64, you've got heavy traffic. From a little bit west of McKnight into Big Bend, south 170, some slow stretches periodically approaching Olive, all the way down to 64. Westbound 64 delays approaching Hampton to Hanley. Have a backup on eastbound Manchester from 141 all the way in through, not quite all the way to Mason, but pretty close. So it is backed up pretty solidly through there. And on the Illinois side, of course, we have heavy traffic on northbound 255, a jam from 5570 up to Horseshoe Lake Road. Those right lanes closed there. Westbound 5570 slow passing 159. Eastbound 5570 at 111 is a little busy. And downtown eastbound 44, some slow stuff now. Park up to the Poplar, and it's slow across the Poplar westbound. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be a nice day today, Roger. Partly sunny, high 75. Tonight, mostly cloudy, maybe a stray evening shower. That's about it, low 63. Tomorrow, pleasant, clouds and sunshine, and a high of 84. Currently, we have clouds in downtown St. Louis. It's 62 degrees.
The news continues on KMOX with his signature on House Bill 862 this past week. Governor Pritzker expanded his cabinet.
The signing creates the cabinet-level department of the Illinois Department of Disability Advocacy and Guardianship, taking the place of the agency-level Illinois Guardianship and Advocacy Commission. The governor said by establishing this new department, we are making it crystal clear that disability rights are a priority in Illinois, and I'll continue to fight hard to empower people with disabilities and their families all across the state. The new department, slated to begin operations July 1st, 2027. John Coleman, 105.9 WBBM.
Admission to the Missouri Botanical Garden is $8 this week for the Illinois residents who show proof of residency. I'll say that again. The Missouri Botanical Gardens, $8 this week for Illinois residents who show proof of residency. Today marks the first day of Illinois Appreciation Week at the Gardens during its daytime hours from 9 to 5. The discounted admission price is good for parties up to 4 people, and as always, children 12 and under are free.
It can be hard enough to care for the average houseplant. Some are incredibly easy to kill. KMOX's Chris and Amy will take on caring for a willow that struggled to stay alive on top of the former Millennium Hotel.
Yeah, this is the honor of my life. You guys don't even know.
Garden Hotline host Michelle Reeser West saying the plant was in relatively rough shape when it arrived at the KMOX newsroom.
I got a message from your producer yesterday and got a little bit of the backstory and a low-grade photo texted over to me. And then I got here and I realized the quality of the photo was fine. It's the weed that is the problem.
Now it's up to Chris and Amy to keep that plant alive.
A little gritty, little struggle happening, but it's got a will to survive, and an incredible story. So
rising
yes.
up from dereliction and neglect is this willow.
That's right, life.
I mean, it's life.
Life finds a way. That's what they said in Jurassic Park.
Ivy Lyons, KMOX News.
This is Michael McGreevy. Escape to Margaritaville night at Busch Stadium on Friday, June 26th. Celebrate the legacy of Jimmy Buffett with a special pregame performance by the Boat Drunks. With a special theme ticket, you'll receive a Margaritaville-inspired Cardinals cap. Plus, a portion of each ticket benefits Singing for Change. Kick back, relax, and enjoy a night where it's 5 o'clock somewhere, even at 7:15 first pitch. Details and tickets at cardinals.com/theme.
This is Jordan Walker. Celebrate Black Heritage Day, presented by your quality Ford dealers on Sunday, June 28th at Busch Stadium. This special culture and community event honors the impact, history, and legacy of the Black community in baseball and beyond. With a special themed ticket, you'll receive an exclusive Cardinals jersey designed by Corey Rogers. And don't miss a special heritage celebration in Budweiser Terrace before the game. Details and tickets at cardinals.com/theme.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
And the match is about to begin.
Most of the team is out with COVID-19, so there'll be some substitutes tonight.
What's this? We have an unexpected guest on the field.
It's a dog. Well, they could do with extra players.
She's going for the ball.
Are front paws hands or feet?
Soccer season is full of surprises, and COVID-19 could be one of them. If you test positive, prescription medications may help. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Learn more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Looking for a career change? Well, the Gelman team with eXp Realty is hiring. Their unmatched blueprint to success, real support, and proven systems help agents take their business to the next level. Level up your future and earning potential. Take the first step at thegelmanteam.com.
After a disaster, emotional recovery takes time. Show Me Hope Missouri offers free, confidential support wherever you are. Call or text 1-800-985-5990 and connect with a local crisis counselor today. From Missouri Department of Mental Health.
Roger Brand, a few slowdowns out there. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, it hasn't been a bad Monday overall, though, Tom. Of course, it's helping that we have dry roads and cloudy skies, so there's no sun in your eyes, and you're not hydroplaning off in a rainstorm, so that's always helpful. Northbound 270, lighter traffic on Mondays in general as a rule anyway. North 270, a brief slowdown north of Gravois, then it's busy from 44 all the way up to Manchester. South 270, it's about Dorset down to Ladue now, pretty busy that whole way through. You look good coming out of St. Charles County on eastbound 70, 64, and 61. Southbound 170, the primary delays approaching Ladue down to 64, eastbound 64 McKnight through Hanley's heavy, westbound 64 Hampton to Hanley have delays. We've got this jam on northbound 255 from 5570 up to Horseshoe Lake Road. The two right lanes are closed in both directions through there. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Monday, June 22nd. A former Republican turned independent turned Democrat says modern forms of socialism can't deliver on promises for the Democratic Party. Hear more after ABC and KMOX News.
Illinois wants to keep more of its soybeans for biodiesel. Jade Aubrey will tell us more.
A funding winter is facing many nonprofits. We'll go in depth at 8:41.
KMOX media expert Julie Smith looks at how we're using AI in 2026.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Ka Erickson. Partly sunny today, perhaps an evening shower, high 75.
We will be back at noon, Chris Ranji and me, for the Gas House Gang. Megan Lynch is next. It's 8 o'clock.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. Vice President J.D. Vance says Iran's agreed to allow the International Atomic Energy Agency inspectors to enter the country.
That is a major milestone for the American people and the first step in permanently denuclearizing or permanently ending a nuclear weapons program in Iran.
The vice president speaking to reporters in Switzerland after the first round of talks with Iran. The UK is soon going to have a new prime minister.
Every decision I've taken has been about putting the country I love first. That is why I will resign as leader of the Labour Party.
Keir Starmer says he'll stay in the position until a successor is chosen. That is expected to be the former mayor of Manchester, Andy Burnham. Dry conditions and extreme heat are fueling nearly a dozen wildfires across Utah. And former Federal Reserve Chair Alan Greenspan has died. He was 100. This is ABC News. Authorities in the Dominican Republic say one person was killed and at least 3 others were hurt in a resort fire Friday. Hundreds more are now stranded there without travel documents, says ABC's Hannah Bata.
Firefighters working for 5 hours to get the fire under control. Lori Sedano was staying at a neighboring hotel.
It was very scary and very terrible to see because it was spreading very quickly, too. You could see all of the roofs were gone, the thatching, any wooden parts of it.
A 46-year-old mother of 2 was rushed to the hospital after being injured, but she did not survive. At least 3 others were hospitalized.
3 people were killed when a small plane crashed in Bowie, Maryland, outside of Washington, D.C. State police believe the plane was from a local flight school on a training flight. The investigation is ongoing. And Wyndham Clark withstood the Shinnecock course and a group of hecklers in the crowd to win his second U.S. Open golf tournament. I'm Brian Clark, ABC News.
At 8:02, we have cloudy skies, 64 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Monday, June 22nd. I'm Megan Lynch. Missouri's Attorney General isn't giving up after a court found several restrictions on abortion violated a 2024 constitutional amendment.
The ruling marks a legal victory for abortion rights advocates like leaders at Planned Parenthood. In most cases, Judge Zhang ruled in favor of abortion rights groups and against the state government's arguments that the law should be enforced. The court also pulled a requirement that anyone getting an abortion see a doctor in person twice and at least 72 hours apart. Another requirement that the first dose of an abortion pill be taken in front of the prescribing doctor was also pulled. Other rules, like a requirement that patients see a doctor in person to confirm things like gestational age and rule out an ectopic pregnancy, remain in effect. Attorney General Catherine Hanaway says she will appeal Thursday's ruling, calling it a Pandora's box that will make women in Missouri, quote, pay the price. Ivy Lyons, KMOX News.
Voters will be asked to approve a measure undoing the 2024 amendment this fall. St. Louis County voters could get another crack at a tax they already turned down.
And it's not the online sales tax. The county council is moving to put a senior services property tax on the November ballot, 5 cents per $100 of assessed valuation to pay for programs serving residents 60 and older. Voters narrowly rejected the same idea a decade ago. At their latest meeting, watchdog Tom Sullivan told council members not to bother asking.
A council press release in March said this: voters are unlikely to support new taxes until the county demonstrates tangible administrative improvement and fiscal discipline. Not only are they unlikely to support new taxes, they shouldn't. Not when dysfunctional is a word most often used to describe county government.
Backers see it differently. Seniors Count estimates the tax would raise about $15 million a year, handed out as grants by an independent board. The council still needs to give the measure final approval before it can go to the ballot. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Gravois Avenue was the most dangerous road last year in St. Louis City. That's according to TrailNet's State of Our Streets report, which was released today. The report shows 23 motor vehicle crashes occurred on Gravois last year, resulting in 19 injuries and 4 deaths. An arterial road remains dangerous for pedestrians, with nearly 85% of pedestrian and 66% of cyclist fatalities occurring on arterial roads. Average gas prices in the St. Louis region 16.5 cents cheaper today than they were last week. Today's average price per gallon sits at $3.81 a gallon, according to Gas Buddy. That's almost 57 cents cheaper than a month ago, but 83 cents higher than a year ago. Missouri's overall average price per gallon sits at $3.62. Illinois comes in at $4.13. The 2026 tornado count already breaking records in Illinois. Haley Hansen has more.
A week after a tornado outbreak moved through the state, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration data shows Illinois is once again leading the nation for its twister count. So far this year, the state's recorded more than 160 tornadoes. Mississippi has the second highest count, with just half of Illinois' total. The NOAA numbers also mean Illinois already beat its previous record of 142 tornadoes set 2 years ago.
At least 2 tornadoes ripped through Dixon, Illinois last night. According to the Jefferson County Sheriff, 2 people are dead, 5 more transported to the hospital following those storms. The St. Louis Health Department says its statistics show dog attacks in the city have been flat in recent years, but is there an issue with reporting?
St. Louis City Animal Regulation Supervisor Kristen Zellen tells KMOX a large portion of their reports come from urgent cares, not victims or witnesses, which would only include attacks on humans. This also skews their numbers, showing where the dog bites were reported.
Ward 5, which is our highest reported ward, also has a lot more urgent cares, and we get most of those reports from the urgent cares.
Zellen says humans can sometimes be hesitant to report out of fear of retaliation, but says their reporting is anonymous. She adds they find very few dog attacks come from strays. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
A piece of St. Louis history changing hands. O'Connell's Pub, which opened in the legendary Gaslight Square in 1962 before moving to Shaw Avenue, has been sold. John Parker Jr., who took over from his father, says what hit him hardest when he stepped in was how much the place already meant to people.
Those kind of stories made me realize I have a real responsibility here. This isn't just about operating a pub. You know, this is about preserving memories for thousands of people. I mean, it never stops.
Parker spent almost 2 years finding a buyer. The deal expected to close early next year, and he will keep running O'Connell's until then. He says the new owners, a group from the St. Louis area, plan to keep it as it's always been. Stay with Total Information AM this hour. Coming up, I'm going to talk with Blake Ashby, a former Republican turned independent, then a Democrat. He says modern forms of socialism can't deliver on promises for the Democratic Party. You'll hear more from him coming up in just a few minutes. Then a little bit later on, Jade Aubrey looks at Illinois and its soybean crops. It wants to keep more of those for biodiesel. Sean Malone will go in depth on dog attacks in the city. And then at 8:41, Debbie Monterey tells us more about a funding winner that's facing many nonprofits. It's now 8:08, traffic and weather in 2 minutes.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey guys, it's Glover. Right now, buy 4 windows and get 4 free and 48 months with 0% interest, same as cash. Call 314-334-2522. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
The summer's finally here, and it's time to take advantage of Zero Res's best deal of the summer. Don't let rising gas prices stop you from having a clean and healthy home. Zero Res is keeping comfort affordable with powerful cleaning at a price families can feel good about. Zero Res can handle every surface in your home: carpets, tile, grout, hardwood, laminated, upholstery, rugs, air ducts, and more. This month, get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129. Take $100 off your air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and ask for the DGS special.
Around baseball, they're talking about St. Louis, a youth movement that's not waiting for the future. Names like Walker, Wynn, and Weatherholt aren't projections anymore. They're the conversation right now. And in a city where expectations never change, the conversation gets louder. Join the conversation. The Gas House Gang. Weekdays at noon. This is Cardinals talk that doesn't flinch. This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
8:10, let's see what the situation is on the roads this morning with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it hasn't been a bad morning in general, Megan. Right now we have slow traffic on northbound 270, north of Big Bend, or primarily up to Manchester. South 270, south of 364 down to Ladue is still slow. We had signal problems reported on 94 at Highway 70. Eastbound 64, McKnight to Big Bend's heavy. Westbound 64, slow Hampton, Hanley. South 170, delays at the Parkway. Manchester eastbound's looking better, but it's still fairly busy. Not jammed like it was, but 141 up to Weidman Road is slow on eastbound Manchester right now. And then downtown on the Illinois side, you have roadwork delays eastbound 5570, 203 into 111, and also northbound 255 from 5570 up to Horseshoe Lake Road. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
A mix of clouds and sunshine today, high 75. Nothing more than a stray evening shower, otherwise mostly cloudy tonight, low 63. Partly sunny and nice tomorrow, high 84. And clouds and sunshine Wednesday with an afternoon thunderstorm, high 80. From the Seliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Kai Erickson on 104.1 FM KMOX.
We've got cloudy skies this morning, 64 degrees in Florissant, 63 in St. Peters, and 64 downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch, and our next guest says socialism is gaining traction among younger Democrats. He argues that's not the path the party should take. I look back at some recent polls. A New York Times Siena poll from May reveals that 49% of Democrats aged 18 to 29 and 58% of those 30 to 44 do view socialism favorably, compared to just 36% of those over 65. So now let's introduce Blake Ashby. He has a varied background in politics. He most recently ran for Congress as an independent. He used to be a Republican. He's run for president a couple times. He's had a hand in multiple business enterprises, and he's also served on the Ferguson City Council and has been deeply involved in social justice issues in Ferguson. His new book is Socialism and the Democratic Party. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you very much, Megan. Really appreciate the opportunity.
You have quite a background in politics, and I guess now, do you identify now as a Democrat?
I formally joined the party over a year ago. I've actually been voting Democratic for quite a while, just did not formally join the party.
What do you believe has led Democrats to lean toward socialism, especially as someone who has kind of been involved in politics across the spectrum?
Well, and, part of this is that the younger generation has a different definition of socialism than my generation. I'm 61 years old. We have traditionally looked at the economic side of it. When a young person says socialism, what they actually mean is social responsibility. So they view public education as a form of socialism. They view roads as a form of socialism. They call national defense a form of socialism. So a lot of this is just a different definition. And it's worth noting that the young people aren't technically wrong. If a company builds a road from a factory to a port and owns that road, it's clearly part of the means of production. Is it not part of the means of production if they give it over to the county? So a lot of this is just definitional. And part of the message of the book is that we need to not be language police. We need to look at the underlying policies and goals. And the underlying policies and goals of a younger generation match up very well with the policies and goals of my generation, which frankly came out of FDR and the New Deal.
So let's talk about FDR. You know, this came at a time during the Depression where a number of things were put into place to try to boost the economy. Why do you think that's the era that we need to return to?
In the 1930s, there was a global debate between state socialism on the one side and unfettered capitalism on the other side. And FDR managed to thread the needle, and we reached a compromise, something called moderated capitalism. We stuck with the free market. We did not, take state ownership of the factories and the farms and the mines, but we used democracy to moderate capitalism to ensure more people had a chance to benefit, more people had a chance to participate, and everybody played by the same set of rules. When the Soviet Union fell, our country as a whole kind of bought into triumphant capitalism, and we started backing away from that compromise. And it turns out that triumphant capitalism is a lot like unregulated capitalism. And like it or not, unregulated capitalism tends to become predatory capitalism. And that's why the young people are so dissatisfied with it.
And just for background for people who may not remember some of the history, for example, we got the Social Security Act from FDR's policies, more regulation of banks, the stock exchange.
We as a country have never believed in equality of outcomes. We have always believed in equality of opportunity. And realistically, we need government to help us achieve equality of opportunity. We need government to make sure we have good public education. The banking rules that you talked about, they were to make sure that people had a level economic playing field, that it wasn't tilted too far in the favor of people that already had money. So as we've backed away from those protections, our country has become less open to equality of opportunity. We are making it harder and harder for a large part of our population to get financially ahead. The Democrats, I'm a Democrat, we need to get back to talking about economic policies that actually improve lives for everyday Americans. That's what we need to talk about.
Do moderates have a place to go in either party these days?
Oh, sure. And I think that's the key point on the language. The young people use the socialism word to describe social responsibility. So what FDR talked about, they're still talking about it. They're still talking about ways to make sure we have good public schools and ways to make sure the roads are taken care of and ways to make sure that, poor people can get through college without being burdened by too much student debts. We're still talking about the right things. We just have a little bit of a definitional gap.
How can Democrats build a better coalition among all these groups and all these ages?
I think it's happening already. Donald Trump will be a clarifying president for our country. because like it or not, predatory capitalism is not self-sustaining. It is a terrible system that inevitably leads to misery for a lot of people. There's an old line from a famous book, actually. It happened two ways, gradually then suddenly. We have been gradually chipping away at protections for about 40 years. Donald Trump came into office and we're doing it suddenly. And, excuse my language, we're doing just foolish things. We had a program to keep screwworms from coming into our country. They ended that program. In example after example, this administration has further reduced the protections that allowed us to have the middle class we have. As long as we get back to providing those protections, we will be able to do those things. We will be able to give a better future to younger people. We will be able to protect Social Security. We can make this happen. We didn't get to this point because it had to get to this point. We got to this point because we allowed it to get to this point.
What do you see the needs being in Missouri specifically when it comes to the Democrat Party gaining traction?
Economic issues. One of our challenges is that we are a more diverse coalition than the Republicans in many ways, and we lost track of that. We took our eye off the ball and stopped talking about things that matter to everyday people. I believe a trans adult should have absolutely any right to do anything they want, but historically we have said that parents had control over their children. And you could squint a little bit and say, well, no, the trans activists don't want parents to have control over their children. And that wasn't actually the case. But we here in Missouri talked about so many issues that were not economic that it allowed the Republicans to come in and say they only care about social issues. Nothing matters more than the kitchen table. Vote Republican, will protect the kitchen table. And clearly that is not true.
That is Blake Ashby, the new book, Socialism and the Democratic Party. Thank you so much for joining us.
And real quick, I got to do a couple of things here. The full title is Socialism and the Democratic Party, the Case for a Return to Moderated Capitalism, because this is not a book suggesting we need to move closer to socialism. And I would be remiss if I didn't say it's available on Amazon, or you can go to blakeashby.org and get a link to the Amazon website.
All right, Blake, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
All right, thank you very much, Megan. Thanks for the opportunity.
8:20 now. Let's get an update on the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still have some delays out there, Megan. This traffic reports a service of the U.S. Air Force Band of Mid-America 4th of July concert series. I'm seeing a backup. I can't see what the problem is, but there is a backup. It looks like probably a stall. Westbound 64 just past Spady. Traffic's backed up approaching Lindbergh. Eastbound 64, McKnight into Big Bend's heavy, and the westbound side coming out of the city, Hampton to Hanley, is still kind of off the pace as well. South 170 bogs down at Ladue. South 270, south of 364 to Ladue is heavy. North 270, Doherty Ferry to Manchester, and just around Clayton Road, a little bit heavy there. Eastbound Manchester from 141 into Weidman still looks kind of crowded. If you're downtown, eastbound 5570 from 203 to 111 is heavy, and northbound 255 is jammed from 5570 up to Horseshoe Lake Road. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Freedom 250. Join the U.S. Air Force Band of Mid-America July 1st through July 7th across St. Louis as we celebrate America's 250-year legacy with free concerts. No tickets required. Details at afbandtix.org. That's afbandtix.org.
Looks like we're going to have partly sunny skies eventually today. Right now, we do have some clouds. Expect a high 75 degrees. Mostly cloudy tonight. Maybe a stray evening shower, an overnight low of 63, and then a mix of clouds and sun. A pleasant day tomorrow, a high of 84. We have cloudy skies, 64 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It's Tom Ackerman. There's nothing like celebrating at the Beer Garden at Anheuser-Busch, and take a tour of the brewery while you're at it. But I've got a great suggestion for a watch party to watch Team USA in the FIFA World Cup. All the great deals on Mick Ultra with collectible FIFA cups while supplies last at the Anheuser-Busch Beer Garden. That Budweiser Tours experience at BudweiserTours.com is the way to go. Gather with your friends and enjoy cold beer, fellowship, and watching some soccer. The FIFA World Cup at the Beer Garden at Anheuser-Busch. What an ultimate venue. We had a great roundtable there last month with some Cardinals alumni. We couldn't have had a better time with a capacity crowd. There's lots of room to relax and enjoy a good watch party at the Beer Garden. Visit BudweiserTours.com. Next game is this Thursday at 9 p.m. against Turkey. BudweiserTours.com. Again, that's BudweiserTours.com.
Here's a World Soccer Championship Team Spotlight, brought to you by the first ever Infiniti QX65 and by Lowe's. Give your yard its own moment with the new limited time deals from Lowe's.
Australia's Socceroos are a combative, never-say-die side built around European-based players hungry to prove themselves. Their athletic midfield and a clinical forward who can finish in tight spaces make them more than capable of upsets.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Back with Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Illinois, officially the home of the soybean, well ahead of Iowa's 595 million and Minnesota's 371 million. Illinois harvested more than 639 million bushels in 2025, and as of this year, the soybean is the official state bean. Capital News Illinois reporter Naomi Taxay reports only 40% of the harvest is kept in the state, and now Illinois lawmakers are pushing biodiesel in the hope it will keep more. Taxay tells KMOX's Jade Aubrey why lawmakers think the push will be effective.
So over the past couple of years, there's been a lot of trade volatility with China is where most of the exports have traditionally gone. Farmers and soybean producers in the state are looking to make a more stable market because the trade wars over the past couple of years have just made it increasingly difficult to depend on China. And China has also been looking to buy soybeans from Brazil more recently. So I think just overall trying to make a domestic market for soybeans has been kind of a goal for lawmakers and farmers in the state.
And so soybeans that are kept in Illinois are processed domestically through a process called crushing. Can you explain that process to me?
Yeah, that basically separates the soybeans. The raw soybeans are what's exported to China traditionally, but the crushing process in the United States separates the soybeans into soybean meal and soybean oil. And the meal is used for livestock feed. So the more soybeans that are crushed domestically, because, there's more demand for biodiesel, there is actually more soybean meal being produced as well. And that can help lower the costs of our food because the animals are cheaper to feed.
And so now turning to biodiesel, in 2022, Illinois gave tax exemptions to retailers selling diesel blended with 17% biodiesel. And now this year, they're up to 20%. Why is that?
So 20% biodiesel, basically that's the percentage that is blended into traditional diesel. So, 20% biodiesel, otherwise known as B20, is going to have more biodiesel in the blend than B17. So that just increases the amount of soybeans that are being put into the diesel. And most diesel engines can take up to B20 without any sort of modifications. So I think they kind of just hit the final rollout.
Yeah, and what does the biodiesel blend do? Does it keep prices low?
So biodiesel is actually more expensive to produce than traditional diesel just because of the crushing process and everything that goes into it. but this incentive helps keep those prices 20 to 40 cents lower than traditional diesel because basically Illinois is offering a tax exemption to retailers that sell biodiesel. So if you look around the state of Illinois, most places where you're going to get diesel is actually some percentage of biodiesel. Now it's probably going to be B20 because those retailers get a tax exemption. So across Illinois, it'll probably stay around B20 just because that's the highest it can go without any sort of modifications. There are definitely places across the country that sell higher blends. I think in California there's a B100, but those require different engines.
Are they looking to up the percentage again after this, or is this kind of the final threshold of that?
This is the final threshold of the law that was passed in 2022. I think it's possible that in the future they'll look to up that, but this is the final rollout of the legislation that was passed in 2022.
That's Capital News Illinois reporter Naomi Taxay speaking with our Jade Aubrey. Taxay adds Illinois lawmakers believe the incentive will push the state's demand for soybeans from last year's 165 million gallons to around 255 million gallons. It's now 8:28, and this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
This year, America celebrates 250 years. 2.5 centuries of courage, sacrifice, and family stories passed down from one generation to the next. Hi, I'm Nick Mako.
And I'm Adam Baselogger, founders of Legacy Box. Your family's piece of the American story is sitting in an attic or closet right now, trapped on aging VHS tapes, camcorder tapes, film reels, and fading photos.
Those boxes hold moments you can never recreate. Your wedding day, your children's voices when they were little, grandparents coming back to life on screen.
Over 2 million families have trusted Legacy Box. And we've just partnered with the USO to digitize fragile handwritten letters from World War II, helping preserve American history for future generations.
As America turns 250, remember that your family is a part of the American story. Preserving those voices, faces, and moments is a part of your responsibility to the next generation. Don't let them disappear on your watch.
Visit legacybox.com/radio for our amazing America 250 sale. That's legacybox.com/radio to save.
Amendment 4 on the August ballot hides some ugly facts. It would create a new minority veto power, but only for ballot issues that are citizen-led.
I just say no to that.
Amendment 4 permanently ends majority rule for citizen-led ballot issues.
I'm a no on 4.
Politicians put Amendment 4 on the ballot to severely limit citizens' constitutional power.
I say no on 4.
4 is a power grab by politicians. It lets one congressional district veto reforms backed by the majority of voters statewide, giving as few as 5% of voters control over the rest of us.
That's why I say no to 4.
4 would make it nearly impossible to rein in out-of-control politicians.
I say heck no.
4 takes away our constitutional power we've used for over 100 years to pass reforms that politicians wouldn't. Keep majority rule and your power. Just say no to Amendment 4. It's an ugly politician power grab. Paid for by Missourians for Fair Governance.
8:30, time to check the morning rush with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's getting better, Megan. I mean, North 270 is pretty well cleared out. There's just a little heavy pocket as you approach Clayton Road. South 270 has more of the slowdown. It's still bogged down about midway down from 364 through Olive down to Ladue. If you're on eastbound 64, still a little busy. McKnight to just 170, then it's opening up. Westbound 64, McCausland out to Hanley, slow, and Clayton Worsen to Spady because of an earlier, I think it was a stall. They cleared it already, but it's just the leftover traffic there. South 170 busy at Brentwood. If you're on the Illinois side, there's a little slowdown eastbound 5570 approaching 111, and then still a jam on northbound 255 from 5570 most of the way up to Horseshoe Lake Road. They have the 2 right lanes closed reportedly both directions, but we've only seen delays this morning northbound. Maybe this afternoon we'll get a backup on the southbound side. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, it looks like it's going to be a nice day today. Partly sunny with a high of 75. Cloudy tonight, maybe a stray evening shower, a low of 63. Right now, cloudy, 64 downtown at the Arch. Earlier this month, the dog of the owner of Steve's Hot Dogs was killed by 2 other dogs that had gotten loose. Dog attacks killed an elderly woman in January of 2025 and an elderly man in 2022. KMOX's Sean Malone checked to see if animal attacks are on the rise in St. Louis.
The St. Louis City Health Department doesn't separate attacks by species, but they show animal attacks as a whole are flat through the first 5 months of the year compared to previous years. However, that number may not paint a complete picture, with inconsistent reporting skewing the statistics. St. Louis City Animal Regulation Supervisor Kristen Zellen tells KMOX most of the reports of dog bites don't come directly from the victims.
And a lot of these bites come in not reported by citizens, but by hospitals or urgent cares that are mandatory reporters for any animal bite.
This also skews their numbers for where the dog bites were reported.
Ward 5, which is our highest reported ward, also has a lot more urgent cares, and we get most of those reports from the urgent cares.
Zellen says in her experience, people are hesitant to report to animal control.
A lot of people, when reporting to animal control, are fearful of, retaliation or things coming back, but all reports do remain anonymous.
So what happens after a report is made? Zellen says they first contact the victim and obtain as much information as they can. After that,
is this an owned animal or is this a stray animal, right? Do we know where this animal lives or not? If we know where the animal lives, or if we have a pretty good idea of where the animal lives, that's when we start knocking on doors, right? We can do searches, look for more information in the area, look up historically, have we had problems at this address?
Zellen says if the animal isn't a stray, the search tends to be successful. She says bites from owned animals are far more common than strays in St. Louis. When they find the animal, Zellen says they are quarantined for 10 days to confirm this isn't a case of rabies, regardless of the animal's vaccination status. The evaluation after that gets complicated.
Depends on what happened before, right? If this is a one-time situation, if, it was something where we were, protecting rather than threatening, what kind of behaviors, things are a little bit more nuanced, right? Dogs are dogs, they're animals.
Zellen says breed is not a factor in this process. She says if this is determined to be a serious attack, the dog can be designated as dangerous. This requires the owner to take extra precautions.
You have to have an escape-proof enclosure, so not just 4 sides, but also a roof and a floor. You have to have dangerous dog signs posted at any entrance to your property, to that enclosure. And the dog's not allowed to be off of a muzzle anywhere outside of that enclosure and in the home.
The owner must also keep the dog on a 6-foot leash and muzzle at all times outside the home. And they must also obtain a $50,000 liability insurance policy, along with registering the dog with the city. Zellen says the incident involving Steve Ewing's dog has drawn a lot of attention, and more cases of animal attacks need this kind of help.
Giving people, your phone number if you witness an incident, calling 311 or the Citizen Service Bureau as soon as you feel safe, or if you feel like it's an emergency, call 911.
Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at Amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Your Money Report, sponsored by Eamon Gatner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
A deal in the pharma space this morning. AbbVie has agreed to buy Apogee Therapeutics for $10.9 billion to boost its anti-inflammatory portfolio. AbbVie says the acquisition will give it the size and scale to address some of the most complex diseases in immunology. AbbVie has been facing new rivals for its psoriasis drug Skyrizi. Apogee is testing a promising compound for eczema. And Gen Z would rather not date than pay $250 for dinner and drinks. A Bank of America survey found that 51% of Americans between the ages of 18 and 29 reported spending nothing on dates this year. Nearly a quarter say they're delaying moving relationships forward because of their financial situation. And only 11% of younger folks describe themselves as actively on the market. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
It's Tom Ackerman. Gamma Tree Experts goes back to 1954 when Frank Gamma started the business with a pickup truck and hand tools. Today, Frank's sons, Tim and Tom Gamma, carry the business on, and they do a marvelous job. They have an incredible team that will trim trees, that will look at damage and assess it and clean it out, that will do an assortment of treatments for trees that need it all throughout the St. Louis area. We have trees of all shapes, sizes, and types, and Gamma Tree Experts knows them all. Whether it's home, business, or municipal needs, Gamma Tree Experts can help your home, business, or municipality. It is Gamma Tree Experts, the genuine, the original. Go online at gammatree.com. You can read all about their services. Give them a call, have them come over and consult you. I can't recommend them enough. They are the tree company in St. Louis. They are Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care.
Hey guys, Glover here with my good friend John Moriarty. John and I have been friends and business partners for years now. He is the principal at E3 Consultant Group, and he is back in the DGS fold. So John, introduce yourself to the listeners.
I am so happy to be back and also happy to talk about our firm, E3. We have over 70 advisors, Dave, now in multiple cities, working with our clients on the wealth, tax, insurance, asset protection, business consulting side. One of my biggest passions right now is working with business owners and trying to help them reduce their tax liability, improve their cash flow for future generations.
I've known John for years and years and years now. John is a good guy, very smart, excellent pitcher in baseball. That means a lot to me. You have
those days are long gone.
You have a new book out.
We do have a new book out. It's called The Entrepreneur Playbook, written for business owners that have an entrepreneurial mindset. And the book should be dropping on Amazon probably in the next 30 days. And we've got white papers that are supporting it. A lot of that information is going to be on our website at e3wealth.com. But the key thing to me, Dave, is we try to keep creating educational tools for business owners, individuals, families, so that they can protect the purpose of their money.
So whether you are interested in classic personal retirement, business growth, or just an overall tax strategy, reach out to my friend John at e3wealth.com.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Former U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Alan Greenspan has died at the age of 100 from complications of Parkinson's disease. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has announced his resignation, forced out by his party after losing voter support. And Toy Story has a friend in moviegoers. The fifth installment in the Pixar series debuted with $160 million in domestic ticket sales. That's according to studio estimates from Sunday. Coming up on Total Information AM, a funding winner is facing many nonprofits. Debbie Monterey will have more on that. First, though, let's get a check of the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got slow traffic on South 270, Megan. This traffic reports a service of Financial and Tax Strategies. It's still delayed, approaching Olive down through Ladue. Eastbound 64 is still slow at the Interbelt. Westbound 64, Big Bend to Hanley, the busiest part. South 170 slow at Brentwood. Eastbound Manchester still has heavy pockets. Stop-and-go stuff. Some of it's due to the signals, but 141 past Weidman, midway into Mason there, is still pretty busy. And on the Illinois side, you have roadwork delays eastbound on 5570 east of 203 to 111. Northbound 255 is jammed from 5570 to Horseshoe Lake Road. And primarily northbound 255 is slow, Seminary Road to 111, but southbound has a little busy stretch in that construction zone as well. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
If your retirement plan is mostly what if and a little fingers crossed, you deserve better answers than that. Check out Wealth and Wisdom Saturdays at 7 a.m. here on KMOX. I'm Gary Goldberg. Call 800-966-1690.
Once we get through these clouds today, we should see some more sunshine, a high 75 degrees today. Mostly cloudy tonight. Again, nothing more than a stray evening shower, though, when it comes to precipitation. An overnight low of 63 degrees. Tomorrow, pleasant clouds and sunshine, a high of 84. And then for Wednesday, we get a mix of clouds and sun. We could see a thunderstorm in parts of the area Wednesday afternoon. Expect a high around 80. And then Thursday, mostly cloudy and humid. A couple of showers, a high of 83. Right now we have 64 degrees in Florissant, 63 in St. Peters, and cloudy skies, 64 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It's been a tough year for a lot of nonprofits in the St. Louis area and across the country. But let's get a closer look because Jim Mascara is joining us right now, and he's the board president of Community Value Alliance and the author of a new report called St. Louis Nonprofit Ecosystem, Maintaining Sustainability. Jim, thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me on your show.
I know there are a lot of things right now that are impacting nonprofits, but can you talk a little bit about what the terrain looks like right now and how many nonprofits we actually have in the St. Louis area?
Yeah, people may be surprised to know that in the St. Louis metropolitan area, we have about 23,000 nonprofits. Now, that number by itself doesn't necessarily mean anything, but when you talk about the size of the metropolitan area, you have to sort of rationalize, well, what's a good number for that? Now, I can't tell you specifically what a good number is, but there have been some research studies done that show that, you have to have a certain density of nonprofits based on your metropolitan area size. And St. Louis is probably, let's say, overcapitalized, if that's a good word you want to use for this. Maybe almost 3x, so we may have potentially 3 times as many nonprofits as, this study indicated based on our metro size. The research report, one of some of our key findings dealt with the fact that because we have so many, there's a lot of fragmentation and duplication. So we have a lot of nonprofits that are essentially doing the same thing. Obviously, at the very beginning of 2025, a lot of nonprofits experienced a deteriorating funding environment, not just at a federal level, but also even at a state and local level. But one of the things that I think is probably most important from the report, and that I would convey to a lot of nonprofits, is when a nonprofit begins, typically there's a personal story there, and maybe there's a motivation, for the founder of that nonprofit. But they need to understand that they actually just started a business. It's a business with a different legal structure, but albeit it still is a business. And so one of the findings of the report is there's a pretty significant business capability gap, which is the nonprofits aren't necessarily run like businesses, and they have to be able to sustain themselves. And sometimes it depends on, whether they have the proper business model or not. So those 3 things, I think, certainly are at the forefront of our report.
That's an interesting point because I do know people who have lost a loved one or they've battled a disease and they think, I'm going to start a nonprofit with very good intentions, but not really quite realizing what that all is entailing.
Correct. And, and another thing that we found in the report as well is that, okay, well, how do we know that the nonprofit is really accomplishing what they say they're actually doing? And that actually is sort of the elephant in the room, I guess, in the report, which is what we call impact measurement and accountability gap. And so oftentimes there's a struggle for nonprofits to really identify, hey, we really had a positive outcome, not the output, but an outcome, like we measurably improve somebody's lives by what we're doing here. Now, I will tell you that's a tough thing to do, and that's one of the goals of our report is to try to work with, organizations to try to quantify that. But I will tell you that the root cause of much of the impact and measurement and accountability gap is the fact that a lot of nonprofits are started to deal with the symptoms of something, right? And so it's a lot more difficult to identify root causes of things. And so that is something that I think we probably lack in the region as well, which is we should create more nonprofits that actually focus on root causes of some of the problems that we have as opposed to some of the symptoms. And so there's a lot of symptom treating, but less root cause addressing.
There have been a number of pretty high-profile nonprofits in the last few years that have merged. They felt they had similar goals and merged. Do you think that we will see more of that? Is that something that is going to be necessary, in your opinion?
Yes, and in fact, that's a recommendation that we make is that we need to create that merger and consolidation. Now, that's easier said than done. I think it can be easier done with nonprofits that are smaller. Now, very, very large nonprofits, it becomes an M&A activity, much like you would see in a for-profit world. But I think among the smaller nonprofits, it's very, very important to do that. I think we're in a position to do that. I think the timing is right to do that. But at some point, the funders, and this is really key, the funders, they have to be the catalyst to initiate some of this change, set up a structure that says, hey, you know what, nonprofit A and nonprofit B, you guys are really doing a lot of the same things. What if you guys combine forces and you make for a more effective organization?
The report is called St. Louis Nonprofit Ecosystem Maintaining Sustainability. Jim Mosquera is the board president of Community Value Alliance. Thanks for sharing with us today.
Thanks a lot, Debbie.
Still ahead on Total Information AM, KMOX media expert Julie Smith looks at how we are using artificial intelligence in 2026.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. Stewie, I think this is going to be a strange season for real estate. Just kind of feel it in my gut. What can people do apropos of their mortgage to put themselves in a better position to get that house?
You know what, Dave, that's a great question. There's a bidding wars are going to happen this spring. You want to get the house. This is how you're going to make things better. Number one, we give you the power of the pre-approval letter. That means you can go into our portal and generate the letter and edit it for any amount you want up to the amount you're approved without chasing the loan officer. Number two, the Bagel loan. No closing costs, no title fees, no lender fees, no appraisal fees. It's a Bagel. Bagel looks like a zero, easy to remember. Add that money you would normally pay onto your bid and beat the other offers out. And you know what? The third thing is we can close fast. 10 days. They're going to look away at the other offers because most lenders take as much as 30 days to get done.
You can call or text Stewie at his personal cell phone, 314-324-4440, or you can Google the Bagel loan, NMLS 226715.
Are moles tearing up your yard? Don't let these lawn invaders turn your beautiful property into a mess. Rottler Pest Solutions offers professional mole control services to protect your lawn from damage. Visit Rottler.com today to schedule your free inspection.
The soundtrack of classic rock is coming to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater August 6th. Leonard Skinner and Foreigner joining forces for one epic night of legendary hits and unforgettable memories. It's the Double Trouble Double Vision Tour. From Sweet Home Alabama to Cold as Ice. Don't miss your chance to experience these two Rock and Roll Hall of Fame acts in one incredible show. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Chris Ronchi, Amy Mark Scores. The Chris and Amy Show. It's not the same old talk. It's fresh, it's different, and it's local. Chris and Amy dig into the news that matters, but they also keep it light, keep it fun, and keep you smiling. Serious when it needs to be, silly when it can be. That's pure entertainment with a local heartbeat. The Chris and Amy Show, weekdays at 9 on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM, KMOX. Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Thanks for listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Experts in AI say most people aren't using the technology to its full potential. I've talked with a number of people who have told me that. With me now, KMOX media expert Julie Smith. Julie, some folks are actually researching every year how we are all using AI. What have they found out?
That the way that we use AI is kind of evolving, which I think is really interesting. A couple of years ago, we were using AI for content creation primarily. And now it looks like the research is showing that we are using AI for companionship, which is the number one reason now. And I think that's so interesting because it reflects so much of what's going on in society, I think, if you hear all those studies about loneliness and things like that.
So chatbots then?
Absolutely.
And what about, we've heard so much, it seems like, about the therapy apps. Is that part of it?
I think so. And you know, there is something appealing about that the chatbot is available 24/7. But what we have to remember is that they are designed to agree with us. They are designed to affirm us so that we stay on it longer and give it more information to train on. So I think everything needs to be taken with a grain of salt, for sure. Some people are using it for therapy and companionship, of course, but also relationship advice, decision-making, drafting emails, which I thought was really interesting, fan fiction and storytelling. And I don't know how that works exactly, but I'm intrigued. Also, a lot of people use it for quote unquote organizing my life, like an organizational tool,
like an assistant.
Yes, like
almost.
a personal assistant. And it's like we're outsourcing a lot of people in our lives. That we're letting AI replace a lot of relationships that we already have,
And almost outsourcing some of our best assets, like our creativity and writing.
Right. And I think that it gives us this false sense of being really smart when we're not exercising our own brain to come up with these things. It's like a crutch.
Are we failing to evolve as AI evolves?
I think AI is evolving too quickly. And it's very difficult to keep up with the technology and the corporations. That we have to remember this is all money-based, right? It's all financially based. So I think that's where critical thinking comes in more handy than ever.
I noticed there were some figures released about the number of people who use ChatGPT, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to wonder how many people are actually using it as a tool and how many of us are using it simply as a toy or entertainment.
I think for a lot of people, it started as a toy and entertainment. And I think as you use it more and more, you realize the way that it can become a tool for you with building, vacation itineraries and things like that. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the use of AI evolves even further. Like if we're using it mainly for companionship now, what are we going to be using it for in 2028 or 2029? I think that's going to be really interesting to find out.
Did the latest research say anything about how people are using this to really transform their business or really change their lives in a meaningful way?
I think that some people are doing that, but I'm not sure that that's the primary reason or I don't think it's in the top 10 of the way people are using AI. I think in most cases, we're using it to make parts of our lives a little easier and less friction in our relationships.
That is KMOX media expert Julie Smith joining us this morning here on Total Information AM. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for the 8 a.m. hour of Total Information AM. McDonald Planetarium in St. Louis has been undergoing a pretty major upgrade. Then there's some pretty neat technology that's coming in. We'll get the latest on the reopening. Plus, the Magic House has a new strategic plan, and the focus is on play. This is serious business. We're going to talk about the benefits and the importance of play tomorrow. And if you want to take us with you, you can always take us with the Audacy app, AUDACY. You can listen live or you can listen back to what we've had on the air and check out our podcasts as well. It looks like we're going to head for a partly sunny sky today, even though we've got quite a few clouds this morning. 75 degrees, the high expected. Mostly cloudy tonight, a stray evening shower possible with an overnight low of 63. And then tomorrow, we're expecting a pleasant day, a mix of clouds and sun with a high of 84. Thunderstorms pop back in on Wednesday, a mix of clouds and sun, a high of 80. And then Thursday, mostly cloudy and humid, a couple of showers around, a high of 83. We'll end the week, showers and thunderstorms on Friday, cloudy and humid, a high of 83. Right now we have cloudy skies, 64 degrees in Florissant. It's 63 in St. Peter's, 64 downtown at the Arch.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by Ethos.
Lifestyle changes could beat a popular medical pill for long-term health. Researchers tracked over 1,100 adults for 2 decades and found that diet and exercise cut the risk of developing multiple chronic diseases, including heart disease and cancer, by 20%. Surprisingly, the common diabetes drug metformin didn't provide the same long-term protection. The study is published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. I'm Margie Schaefer.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My